You arrive here because you want less noise and more ease. You want to focus without bracing against the day. You want to draw clean lines without feeling cold or unkind. You want money to feel like a clear river instead of a foggy pond. Tonight or this morning, you choose simple. You choose a way of moving through life that makes room for your breath, your values, your time. You are not behind. You are right on time, and you start exactly where you are. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks. Simplicity is not about owning nothing or saying no to everything. Simplicity is alignment. You let what matters lead, then you let what matches stay. Everything else can step aside. With each small choice, you reduce friction. You stop arguing with the day. You start designing it. This is not a personality swap, it is a posture. You stand a little taller. You place your attention like you would place flowers in a vase. You notice the room of your life and decide what gets a seat. Here is your first micro practice. Name your one thing, whisper it, write it. For the next hour, choose one focus that genuinely moves your life forward. Set a simple timer for 25 minutes, then work only on that one thing. If new thoughts pop up, jot them on a small capture card, then come back. When the timer ends, take a slow breath, sip water, and notice the calm that appears when you choose on purpose. You do not simplify by force. You simplify by rhythm. Start with the rhythm of your mornings. No heroic reinvention. You take 5 quiet minutes before screens. Sit feet grounded. Ask one question: what would make today feel complete, not perfect, complete? Write 3 lines, one task, one connection, one act of care. When the day starts talking at you, read the 3 lines and answer them first. I'm focusing on one thing right now. I'll circle back at 2. Boundaries protect what you value and reveal what you teach others to expect. A gentle boundary feels like a smooth railing on a staircase. It keeps you from falling into resentment. It keeps your relationships honest. You do not need to over-explain. You do not need to apologize for existing. You phrase your boundary with warmth and edges. You keep your voice low and steady. You choose a short sentence and you repeat it because the first boundary is mostly for you. Here is a boundary script for work, written as a brief email. Thanks for thinking of me. I won't be able to take this on this week. If it's needed after Monday, let me know and I can give you an update. This is simple, respectful, and holds the line without a biography of reasons. It sets time, it declines clearly, and it leaves a small door for future alignment. You click send and return to the one thing you named. I can't take this on this week. If timing shifts, I'm open to revisit next Monday. Simplicity with friends is honesty without drama. You love them and you also love your limits. Text is a good place to be direct and kind. Try this boundary script for a friend in chat. I want to see you and this week is full. I can do coffee next Thursday at 10 or a call on Sunday evening. Which one works for you? You offer 2 options. You name your truth without guilt. You stop pretending your energy is elastic. You protect your presence so that your yes is real. I want to see you, this week is full. Thursday 10 or Sunday evening works for me. Family boundaries require tenderness and spine. The goal is connection with self-respect. When a relative pushes into your private choices, keep it short and steady, face-to-face or on a call. Try this boundary script. I hear your perspective. I'm not discussing this further. Let's talk about something we both enjoy. You acknowledge, you close the topic, you redirect. If they circle back, you repeat. Calm repetition is your friend. I hear you. I'm not discussing this further. Let's talk about something we both enjoy. Be kind, be clear, be consistent. Simplicity also lives in your money. Clarity starts with attention, not spreadsheets. Try this micro practice now. Open your recent transactions for the past 7 days. Circle the 3 that brought real joy or real relief. Put a small star beside one that did neither. Ask one question: what did I truly buy? Time, ease, connection, status, avoidance. There is no shame here, only data. Next, create a tiny rule for the week ahead. 1 joy purchase, 1 relief purchase, and you pause on the item that did neither until Friday. This is value-based spending, and you are teaching your money to tell the truth. I spend on what I value, and I pause on what I don't. Focus is a muscle. Your attention follows your environment. Make your space say yes to focus in 2 minutes. Clear the nearest surface within arm's reach. Remove everything that is not needed for the next task. Put it in a temporary basket. Place one object that cues calm, like a small plant or a photo that makes you breathe easier. Your brain reads the cue and mirrors it. Then you set a low-friction start. If you are writing, open the document and type one imperfect sentence. If you are planning, write 3 bullet lines. Movement removes fog. Here is a micro practice that tucks easily into busy days. The reset breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. Do this 3 times. As you exhale, lower your shoulders by 1 inch. You do not need to feel peaceful for it to work, you just need to show up for 30 seconds. It is normal to feel resistance when you simplify. Your brain likes familiar clutter because it knows where to hide. Compassion cuts the rope. When resistance hums, you do not debate it, you step around it. You take the smallest useful action. If you cannot clean the inbox, you write 1-sentence reply to one important email. If you cannot budget, you set a single alert that shows your current checking balance at noon each day. Consistency beats intensity. You are building a calm bias in your choices. When you hear an old story that says you must earn rest, notice the story and offer a firm counter story. Your worth is not your output. Your rest is not a prize. It is fuel. If you feel that busy means valuable, remind yourself that full calendars can hide empty priorities. Today, you test a different signal. You let the few important things stand tall, and you let the other things kneel. I do fewer things well on purpose. Let's sharpen money clarity with 1-minute forecasting. Look at the next 2 weeks. Name 3 predictable expenses: groceries, transport, a small social event. Estimate simple amounts that are on the high side. Then name 1 uncertain expense and cap it now. Put those 4 numbers in a quick note, total them. Subtract that from what you have available. The remainder becomes your true discretionary pool. When a new invite or purchase pops up, you check the pool. If the pool says no, you do not ask your self-worth to cover the bill. You honor the pool and say next month with a light heart. If someone does not like your boundary, that is information, not a crisis. You are not responsible for their comfort with your limits. You are responsible for how you speak, not how you are received. When pushback appears, repeat your sentence and offer one alternative that still protects you. If they escalate, end the exchange kindly. You can exit without a speech. Your silence can be a boundary too, especially online. Here is a micro practice to release mental clutter. The 2-bag mental sort. Take 2 pieces of paper. Label one keep, the other park. For 60 seconds, dump every loose worry onto one of the 2 pages. Keep means it needs action today. Park means it can wait without harm. When the minute ends, choose only one keep item to act on now. You can trust tomorrow you with the rest. This turns a storm into a list, and lists are friendlier than weather. When your schedule sprawls, you shrink it with a gate. The gate is a single question you ask before you agree. Does this align with my top 2 priorities this season? If yes, you consider it. If no, you pass or propose a lighter alternative. Gates are not walls, they are filters. They let your best life through. They keep overwhelm out. You place a gate at your calendar, your inbox, your shopping cart, your to-do list, and your conversations. You watch how order returns when you stop saying yes by default. I'm at capacity this month. I'm protecting my focus and energy. You might fear missing out or disappointing people. That is human. You can disappoint someone and still be a good person. You can cancel a subscription and still be generous. You can choose a quiet night over a second event and still be a loyal friend. Your value is not measured by how many requests you absorb. Your value is expressed by how thoughtfully you invest your attention, your time, your money. You are not a resource to be mined. You are a human who chooses. Here is your closing micro practice for today. The 5-line closure. Before you end the day, write 5 short lines. 1 thing you finished, 1 thing you advanced, 1 thing you learned, 1 thing you are grateful for, and 1 thing you will start tomorrow. Read them aloud. This 5-line ritual tells your nervous system that the day is complete. Closure is a kindness you can give yourself in 60 seconds. When you feel scattered, remember you control 2 levers: what you do and how you frame it. You can do less and frame it as focus. You can spend less and frame it as alignment. You can speak less and frame it as clarity. Your tone softens, your spine steadies, your days find a slower wind. Simplicity is not a downgrade. It is an upgrade in how you live your values. If a loved one or colleague asks for more than you can give, respond with respect and truth. You do not owe anyone your depletion. You owe yourself a life you can stand inside. Practice the sentences you met today until they feel natural in your mouth. You are building a library of calm responses. When pressure arrives, you will not need to invent language. You will reach for it ready. I'm choosing a simple plan I can sustain. As you close part 1, feel the relief of choosing. You are not waiting for perfect tools. You are creating a personal operating system that is light, honest, and repeatable. You know your one thing. You know how to hold a line at work, with friends, with family. You know how to look at your money and ask what you truly bought. You know how to reduce friction with tiny environmental shifts. You are capable of simple, steady improvement, and your life will reflect it. Yesterday, you named your one thing and practiced short, steady boundaries. You also touched your money with clarity and gave the day a clean closure. Today, you go deeper. You turn simple ideas into reliable systems that carry you when willpower feels thin. You let rhythm do the heavy lifting so you can move through your hours with less friction and more dignity. Simplicity grows when you reduce decisions. Decisions drain energy. You start by making one choice once, then letting it repeat. You choose a uniform for your mornings. It is not about clothes, it is about cues. You set a simple breakfast, a default route, a small start ritual. You give your brain a familiar runway so it can lift off without a fight. You protect the first 90 minutes of the day like it is prime real estate. You put your one thing there when you can. If your mornings are not your own, you pick the first clear pocket and treat it like morning energy even if the clock says afternoon. Here is a micro practice you can use right now. The 3 yesies. Write 3 short yesies that guide your day. Yes to deep work before chat. Yes to water before coffee. Yes to closing loops before new tabs. Place the list where your eyes land often. When your hand moves toward distraction, read your yesies out loud. Your voice reminds your body what you chose. Focus strengthens when you stop negotiating with every ping. You make your devices serve you. You set quiet hours for messages and choose one window to respond with presence. You are not rude. You are reliable. Your replies gain quality because your attention is whole. You train people gently. You answer within set times. When someone expects instant availability, you teach them your rhythm by repeating simple language. I reply in batches each afternoon so I can focus in the morning. At work, you keep projects honest. You define done before you begin. You write a one-line definition of what finished means for this task. You say it to yourself or to your team before you start. When you define done, you protect yourself from endless add-ons. You also make it easier to celebrate progress. Your brain likes clear finish lines. It works harder and rests better when it knows where the tape is. Here is a boundary script for work to use in a meeting or on a call. To keep this on track, here is my definition of done for this week. If we want to add more, we can plan it for the next sprint. You bring the group back to the lane. You calm scope drift without blame. You sound steady because you are steady. To keep this on track, I'm holding this week's definition of done. Add-ons go to the next sprint. Simplicity with friends means you match your capacity with the right channel. Not every conversation needs to be long. Some need a quick, warm check-in. Others deserve a slower hour. You choose on purpose and you tell the truth about your timeline. When a friend texts during your deep work block, you send a quick boundary that honors both of you. I'm in focus time. I saw your message and I care. I'll reply tonight after dinner. Family life benefits from gentle systems too. You replace repeating arguments with repeating structures. You create a calm budget chat once a week and a short planning chat once on Sunday. You keep both short. You choose a steady script to start them and a steady script to end them. If a relative brings up money in a way that spikes tension midweek, you name your boundary and move it to the plan. I want to discuss this with a clear head. Let's add it to Sunday and decide then. Money clarity expands when you track reality without drama. You check your numbers the way a pilot checks instruments. No guilt, just information. You set a weekly money minute. It is 1 minute, not 2 hours. You look at your current balance, your upcoming automatic bills, and your discretionary pool. You adjust calmly. If the pool shrinks, you do not shame yourself. You change the plan. You move a social event to next week, or you choose a lower-cost version. You let numbers tell the story so you can write the next chapter with eyes open. Here is a micro practice for spending with values. Call it the pause card. The next time you want to buy a non-essential, pause for one slow breath and ask one question. Will this still feel right after 3 sleeps? If yes, you proceed. If not, you mark the item and revisit in 3 days. Most fog fades with time. Clarity stays. I buy after space, not after spikes. Your calendar is the canvas for a simple life. You make it honest. You put everything that truly takes time into the calendar. You include commutes, buffers, meals, and margins. You stop booking fantasy time. You plan real time, then you create a gate for new requests. When someone asks for a meeting, you check the calendar before your mouth says yes. If there is no space, you do not invent it out of sleep and health. You offer an alternative that fits your real life. I don't have space this week. I can offer next Tuesday at 3 or the following Friday morning. You reduce chaos by grouping similar tasks. You put admin in one small basket, errands in one small window, creative work in one protected block. You bake once, freeze twice. You answer messages in batches. You pay bills on 2 set days. You cook one base ingredient and use it 3 ways. You stop context switching like a pinball. Your attention thanks you. Here is a micro practice for your environment. The end cap reset. At the end of each block, take 60 seconds to restore the space you used to neutral. Close tabs that are not part of the next block. Put tools back. Lay out the first item for the next task. When you return, you start clean. Little resets prevent big messes. You turn down the volume on decision fatigue with short menus. You write a small list of default meals, default workout options, default outfits for different weather. You let good enough be good enough. You do not use perfection to delay action. You choose a simple grocery pattern that repeats. You build a small list of social options that fit your budget and energy. You repeat them until the season changes or your joy asks for a new flavor. Focus deepens when you see your energy patterns. You track the curve of your day for a week, not with graphs and complexity, with a few quick notes. High, medium, low, you learn when you naturally climb and when you dip. Then you schedule high-value work when you peak and low-stakes work when you fade. You align your plan with your biology and watch how effort drops while results rise. I do high-value work when my energy peaks. When clutter returns, you do not shame yourself. You return to flow. You remove one friction at a time. If mornings stall, you prepare the night before. You set clothes, bag, and keys by the door. You fill the water bottle. You write the first line of the next day's one thing so you do not face a cold start. You keep the path clear like a runner who lays out shoes. At work, email can swell until it feels endless. You shrink it with a rule and a script. The rule is the 2-minute rule. If a reply takes under 2 minutes, you send it in your next batch window. If it takes more, you add it to your one thing or a focused block. The script protects you from vague asks. When a request is unclear, you reply with precise questions so you can say a clean yes or no. Happy to help. What is the exact deliverable, the due date, and the decision maker? Friendship thrives on clarity around money. You can be generous without self-erasure. When a plan stretches your budget, you suggest an option that fits and hold your ground. You keep love center and cost aligned. I'm keeping a limit this month. I can do a home dinner or a walk at the park instead. Family conversations about time can be tender. You may be the one who always hosts, always drives, always fixes. You can still love and make a new pattern. You name your capacity and propose a fair rotation. You set reminders so you do not overcommit in the moment. I can host once this month. Let's rotate for the next gatherings so we all share the load. Here is a micro practice to reduce digital noise. One screen rule. When you work, keep one active screen. If you need a second, it must serve the current task. Music counts if it helps. Extra chatter does not. At the end of the block, return to one screen. Your focus will thicken like soup that simmers instead of boiling over. Money clarity also means naming priorities for the season. You choose a focus theme for the next 90 days. It might be debt reduction, a cushion fund, or saving for a meaningful purchase. You pick one main target and one tiny habit to support it. You track progress weekly in a simple note. When a new want appears, you check the theme and decide with alignment, not impulse. You are not rigid, you are intentional. My theme this season is a cushion fund. My habit is moving $10 every weekday. You learn to exit with grace. Exiting is not failure. Exiting is choosing your line. When a project or social commitment no longer aligns, you release it cleanly. You do not ghost. You do not over-explain. You send a considerate note and you stand firm. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm stepping back after this month to focus on fewer commitments. Wishing you all the best going forward. Your home becomes a simple ally. You do not declutter your entire house in one weekend. You pick one visible zone that affects daily stress. The entry, the desk, the kitchen counter. You remove what does not belong and give remaining items a clear home. You set a small bin for the in-between. You teach everything where to live. You label if that helps your future self. Every time you pass the zone, you feel a little wind of relief. Here is a micro practice called the 2-minute tour. Walk through your space with a small bag for trash and a small basket for displaced items. Move quickly for 2 minutes. Do not organize, just remove obvious noise. Stop when the timer ends. Small tour repeated change how rooms feel. You treat your attention like currency. You spend it where return is high. You stop doom scrolling by making your phone show you only what you choose. You move the most tempting apps off your home screen. You add friction. You sign out after each session so impulse must pass through one small gate. You reward yourself with a short fun scroll after you complete your one thing. You teach your brain that focus leads to pleasure, not deprivation. At work, meetings often expand beyond value. You bring meetings back to purpose with 3 moves. You accept only with a clear agenda. You end with crisp next steps. You decline meetings where an email would do and you offer the email yourself. You do this kindly because kindness travels farther than force. This seems best handled by email. If you send the questions, I'll reply by Friday. With friends, you shift from default yes to intentional yes. You propose plans earlier so you can align calendars and budgets without rush. You speak up when you want more depth and less noise. You ask for a walk, a shared cooking night, a creative session. You co-create a social life that nourishes you both. I'm craving deeper time, not louder time. Want to cook together Friday and catch up slowly. Family traditions can be beautiful and heavy. You keep the beauty and lighten the weight. You show up for the moments that matter and decline the pieces that drain you. You create new micro-traditions that fit your current season. A short game night. A Sunday call with time limits. A shared photo drop of weekly wins. You move from obligation to intention. I love being with you. I need to leave by 8 to protect tomorrow. Let's plan a shorter visit next time too. Here is another micro practice for clarity. The whiteboard question. Keep one question visible for the week. What would make this simpler? Before you start a task, read the question and remove one step. You might cut a meeting to a voice note, a deck to a 1-page brief, a 5-step recipe to 3. You shave the iceberg. You discover the essential shape and let the rest melt. Your money gets clearer when you separate wants you adore from wants you enjoy. Adore items are aligned with your core values and long-term joy. Enjoy items are fun but fleeting. This week, choose one adore item to fund and one enjoy item to pause. You will feel a rise in satisfaction that costs nothing. I fund what I adore, I sample what I enjoy. When anxiety flares, you move your body lightly to discharge static. You stand, stretch your arms wide, and roll your shoulders. You walk one lap around your space. You drink water. You return to your plan. Simplicity is physical. Your body is not a brain taxi. It is a partner in focus. Your future self becomes a person you take care of. You email yourself clear subject lines. You name files in plain language. You add links to the exact document someone will need. You write short summaries at the top of shared notes. You build a trail of mercy. Tomorrow you opens a file and feels cared for, not confused. At work, you also build social boundaries that reduce rework. When someone drops a last-minute request, you step back from the urgency trap. You ask what will change if it ships later. You propose a version that can ship now and a fuller version later. You avoid heroics that train chaos. I can deliver a basic version by end of day or a polished version by Wednesday, which serves the goal. Simplicity does not mean life is silent. It means the volume matches the room. It means your days carry a shape you can hold. It means you can hear your own thoughts. You will still face busy seasons and surprise storms. Your systems will hold you. Your boundaries will protect you. Your clarity will guide you back when you drift. Close today by naming 3 things you will not do. Not to do's are powerful. They keep your plan lean. They guard your energy. When you wake tomorrow, you will already have space. Space is the soil where focus grows and money choices align with values. Space lets love breathe. Here is your closing micro practice. The 2-sentence plan. Write 1 sentence about what you will finish tomorrow before noon. Write 1 sentence about how you will protect it. Place the note where morning eyes will see it. When you wake, you do not negotiate, you begin. You are building a quiet structure that lets you move with confidence. Your yes means yes. Your no means no. Your money speaks in your voice. Your calendar reflects your values. Your spaces steady your mind. This is how a simple life looks from the inside. It feels like ease and honest momentum. Yesterday, you built simple systems that reduce decisions and protect your attention. You matched your energy, calendar, and money to your values and practiced clean language that kept scope drift and social pressure in check. Today, you refine your inner stance. Simplicity is not only schedules and scripts, it is how you talk to yourself when plans wobble. You choose language that keeps you steady. You notice what fuels you and what frays you, then you design around that truth. You keep the changes small enough to repeat and strong enough to matter. You lead with presence. Start with the story you tell yourself about your time. You retire the sentence, "I'm so behind." Behind compared to what? You step out of vague pressure and into a clear lane. You are one person in one day, and that is enough. You pick a finish line that fits the day you have, not the day you wish you had. You move one block, then the next. The win is honest traction. Here is a micro practice that resets your inner narrator. When you feel the urge to say, "I'm drowning," pause, place a hand flat on your desk or your chest. Say out loud, "I am one person and I'm taking the next step." Then name the step. Naming converts fog into a handle your mind can grip. Do it now and notice how your shoulders lower. Focus sharpens when you design exits from distraction. You do not rely on willpower in the moment. You use distance and default. You move tempting apps to a second screen and sign out after each session. You decide when you will wander and when you will work. You build enjoyment into your plan so your brain stops hunting for secret breaks. I'll scroll for 10 minutes at 8 p.m. after I finish my one thing. At work, you protect deep time with a boundary that is visible and kind. You reserve a recurring block and share it with your team so no one has to guess. You stop apologizing for focused work. It is your job to deliver value, not to be permanently reachable. You make being reachable predictable instead of constant. To support delivery, I'm offline for deep work 9 to 11 most days. I'm available after for questions and quick reviews. Friendships thrive when you show care without sacrificing your plan. When a friend needs support during your workday, you can respond with warmth and a boundary that gives them certainty and gives you focus. You choose the channel and the timing that suits both. I'm in meetings till late afternoon. I can give you my full attention at 6. Do you want a call then or a voice note sooner? Family dynamics often test your new limits. You prepare a short, respectful line for recurring requests that overlook your capacity. You say it the same way each time so your nervous system does not have to invent language under pressure. Repetition makes the boundary feel safe to your body and clear to theirs. I'm not able to help today. I can offer Saturday morning for an hour if that still helps. Your money clarity expands from numbers to feelings. Every purchase carries a mood before and after. You learn your patterns. If urgency or comparison spikes your desire, you add space. If relief or joy follows a purchase, you note it. You aim for purchases that feel good twice, when you decide and when you remember. Here is a micro practice for the next 7 days. The double check note. For any non-essential over $30, write one sentence before buying, "Why now?" If the reason is timing, savings, or a planned need, you proceed. If the reason is stress, envy, or boredom, you mark the item and check again in 72 hours. One sentence protects many dollars. I spend to support peace, not to solve stress. Simplifying your commitments means saying yes to the right shape, not just the right cause. You can honor your values and still limit scope. When invited to volunteer or lead, you propose a version that fits your bandwidth. You keep your generosity sustainable. I'd love to help by contributing a short guide and 2 hours on launch day. I'm not able to join ongoing meetings. Your attention loves clarity more than intensity. You create a simple scoreboard for the week that tracks 3 signals: focus time completed, boundaries held, and money choices aligned. You mark a small X for each day you hit 2 of the 3. You do not chase perfection, you chase a visible pattern. Lines of excess feel like momentum. Momentum invites more momentum. Here is a micro practice for late day slumps. The 2-beat reset. Stand up, take 2 slow breaths, then do 2 tiny actions that clear the path. Send 1 reply that takes under a minute and stage the first file for tomorrow's one thing. 2 beats create closure and a runway. You end the day with fewer loose threads. You also simplify by standardizing your yes. A standard yes includes scope, support, and stop. Scope is what you will deliver. Support is what you need to do it well. Stop is when you will reevaluate. You include all 3 in one short message or sentence so there is no drift. Happy to take the analytics slice this month. I'll need read access by tomorrow. Let's review the impact on the 28th and decide next steps. With friends, money talks can feel delicate. You choose clarity over assumptions. You talk early, not at the table when the bill arrives. You suggest a budget-friendly frame with warmth and zero apology. You are protecting connection, not reducing it. I'm keeping my budget tight this month. Can we plan a cozy dinner at home Friday and split ingredients? Family gatherings and holidays benefit from simple agreements. You set time boundaries and expense boundaries before the day. You name travel limits. You spread labor fairly. You do not wait until resentment grows teeth. You invite collaboration by being specific. I can come from 2 to 6 and bring dessert. For gifts this year, I'm keeping it simple with a single shared experience. You bring order to projects by labeling the stage you are in. Exploring, deciding, executing, polishing, or resting. When you name the stage, you stop judging yourself for not being in a different one. Exploration looks messy by design. Execution looks quiet from the outside. Polishing can swallow time if unnamed. Resting is a stage 2, it prevents rework and fuels insight. Focus feels easier when you shrink the unit of progress. You stop trying to finish chapters and start finishing sentences that matter. If you must write a proposal, you first write the 1-sentence promise. If you must clean a room, you first clear the floor space inside the door. Tempt your brain with an easy win that leads to the real win. Here is a micro practice you can repeat daily. The promise line. Before starting a task, write 1 sentence that begins with "I will deliver." Then fill in the smallest meaningful outcome for the session. Keep it visible until you deliver. The promise line becomes a contract between your present attention and your near future. Your money systems get lighter when you automate the boring and ritualize the meaningful. You automate transfers for bills and savings on payday. You ritualize a 5-minute Friday money check with your favorite drink. Numbers plus a small pleasure equals a habit you keep. If a bill increases, you give yourself 7 days to negotiate or switch. You treat your money like a team you coach. Review, adjust, encourage, repeat. I move money on payday before I see it. Future me says thank you. At work, clarity often lives at the start and end of a piece of communication. You open with the point and end with the ask. You resist the urge to spiral in the middle. People respect you because you respect their time. You train better replies by writing better requests. Here is the decision we need by Thursday. Option A or B. If I don't hear back, I'll proceed with it to keep momentum. Friend dynamics shift as you grow. You may need to reset response expectations if late-night chats steal your sleep. You care and you also need rest. Say it once kindly and then live it. Friends who love you will adjust. I'm heading to earlier nights for my health. I'll answer late messages in the morning. Family may test money boundaries with surprise asks. You can be generous within limits and honest about the line. You separate emergency from preference. You define what you can offer clearly and keep it consistent. I can't cover that expense. What I can do is share a list of resources and help you make a plan on Sunday. Simplicity loves templates. You build 3 quick templates that save energy: a decline with options, a scope confirmation, and a scheduling reply. You store them where your fingers can find them. Each time you use a template, you reduce friction and dodge the emotional tax of deciding tone from scratch. Your environment cues your best self. You place friction where you want less and ease where you want more. You put a water bottle on your desk and the charger across the room. You make your morning path smooth and your midnight browsing path bumpy. You are designing behavior, not relying only on discipline. Here is a micro practice to strengthen your morning path. The first move. Choose the first physical move you will make each morning that is aligned with focus. Open the curtains, drink water, or step onto the mat. Do it before any screen. One move tells the day who is leading. Money clarity includes exit plans. Subscriptions and memberships can linger past their season. You set a standing date, the first Saturday of the month, to review 2 recurring charges. You keep what still serves, you cancel what does not. You redirect the freed dollars to your theme for the season. You watch your sense of agency rise. I exit what no longer fits and fund what matters now. When conflicts arise at work, you reduce drama with structure. You separate people from processes. You bring the team back to the problem and the next right step. You avoid sweeping statements and focus on specifics and timing. You keep your tone low and your request clear. To move forward, here's the single decision we need today and the smallest test we can run this week. With friends, you practice saying no without a comma of shame. Your no is a full sentence that trusts the strength of the relationship. You do not pad it with excuses that invite negotiation. You keep your tone warm and your words short. No, thank you, I'm keeping my plate light this month. Family habits can shift when you introduce shared tools. A weekly shared note for groceries or tasks stops repeated texts and confusion. You propose it and you maintain it lightly for 2 weeks until it sticks. You turn friction into a simple flow. I've started a shared list so we can add items as they come up. Let's check it before any store run. Your inner stance toward imperfection decides whether you keep going. You choose progress as your metric. You measure inputs you control, not only outcomes that depend on others. Did you protect your deep work block? Did you say the boundary line? Did you do the money minute? Inputs compound into outcomes. This is how you stay encouraged through slow weeks. When your mind spins at night, you create closure without screens. You keep a small notebook by the bed. You write 3 lines, 1 worry, 1 win, 1 next. You tell your brain it does not need to rehearse. You have captured the thread. Sleep returns more easily when your brain believes the day is complete. Here is a micro practice for evening peace. The soft landing. 10 minutes before your target bedtime, dim one light, wash your face slowly, and set out tomorrow's first object. The body reads cues better than lectures. Soft light and staged tools whisper you are safe to rest. On money, you translate values into categories you can feel: security, freedom, connection, growth, joy. Each dollar you move, you assign to a feeling. At the end of the week, you glance at the balance of feelings. If joy is starving and impulse is bloated, you adjust with kindness. If security is rising, you celebrate even if the number looks small. Small is not the opposite of meaningful. Small is the path. I budget by feelings I choose, not feelings that chase me. Workdays end cleaner when you close loops with a two-line sign-off to yourself. You record where to resume and what block it belongs to. You leave the desk knowing your future self will not have to guess. You treat your future self like a teammate whose time matters. With this task, next step is draft section 2 during tomorrow's 10 a.m. focus block. Friend care includes celebrating quietly. You send a voice note on their win day. You schedule it if needed so the thought becomes action. Simplicity is not only saying no, it is also saying yes in ways that fit your life. Small acts travel far when done consistently. Family care includes teaching your boundaries by living them. You leave on time, you stick to agreed budgets, you pause before answering new asks. Over time, the people around you learn your rhythm. Your calm becomes the expectation. When you feel the old pull to overcommit, you return to your gate question: does this align with my top 2 priorities this season? You answer without debate. You do not make a permanent rule from a temporary feeling. You let your season lead. Seasons change, your answers will too. That is not inconsistency, that is wisdom. You strengthen trust in yourself by keeping micro-promises. Micro-promises beat grand vows because they finish often. Finishers build identity. Each time you deliver a small promise, you become the person who does what she says. Your voice sounds different when you trust yourself. Others hear it and adjust. Close today by counting what got simpler. 1 habit, 1 money move, 1 sentence you used. You do not need fireworks to mark progress. You need awareness and a little pride. Pride is a renewable fuel when tied to effort, not outcome. This is working, I'm living more simply, and it shows. Yesterday, you refined your inner stance and used simple scripts to protect deep work, friendships, and family time. You matched money to feelings you choose, built small templates to reduce friction, and ended the day with closure you could trust. Today, you streamline the moving parts that still tangle your hours. You replace recurring frictions with tiny systems that run quietly in the background. You set up cues that make your best choices feel like the easiest choices. You move from effortful control to graceful default. When life speeds up, your defaults hold the line and keep you steady. Start with your inputs. What you see and hear all day steers your mind. You curate your inputs like you would curate your food. You choose sources that inform, not inflame. You choose voices that respect your attention. You catch yourself when you reach for noise to avoid a task. You step back and ask one question: what input would help the next useful move? Then you choose that, even if it is silence. Here is a micro practice you can do in 1 minute. The input sweep. Open your phone home screen and remove 1 distracting app to the second page. Unfollow 1 account that spikes anxiety. Add 1 tool to the first row that supports your focus, like notes or a reading cue. Small input edits compound into calmer days. Your calendar becomes lighter when you name the weight of each item. Not all commitments weigh the same. Some give energy, some cost energy, some are neutral. You label them with a tiny symbol when you add them: a plus, a minus, or a dot. You aim for a day with more plus than minus. You do not fear minus items, you simply balance them with recovery and joy. I'm protecting recovery time around the heavy items so I can show up well. At work, you prevent last-minute churn by agreeing on checkpoints. You do not wait until the end to discover misalignment. You schedule a short midpoint review and a final polish window. You state timelines and limits without apology. People respect the structure because it saves everyone time. Let's do a 15-minute checkpoint on Wednesday to confirm direction, then a final polish window Friday 3 to 4. With friends, you set a cadence that keeps connection easy. You create a light ritual that repeats: a first Sunday walk, a second Thursday dinner, a monthly voice note swap. Rituals replace planning overhead with rhythm. When a busy week arrives, the ritual carries you both. First Sunday is our walk day. I'll bring coffee, you bring updates. Family systems calm recurring friction. If household tasks pile up, you build a two-line agreement and post it where everyone can see. You assign days, not feelings. You keep it simple enough to survive real life. When someone forgets, you point to the agreement instead of restarting the argument. Trash runs Monday and Thursday, dishes before bed. If we miss, we reset the next day. Money clarity grows when you give each dollar a short job title. Rent is shelter, groceries are fuel, savings are calm, hobbies are joy, giving is connection. You look at titles and ask whether they match your values this season. If a category feels overwhelmed or starved, you shift a few dollars. You manage flow, not perfection. Here is a micro practice that takes under a minute. The title check. Open your banking app, scan the last 5 transactions, and write the one-word job title beside each. Shelter, fuel, calm, joy, connection, or other. If you see other more than twice, you pause new spending for a day and red idle your next purchase on purpose. You simplify decisions by pre-writing your answers to common requests. You draft a short bank of replies in your own voice so future you does not scramble. You keep them where your fingers can reach them. You are not being cold, you are being clear. Clarity reduces friction for you and for others. I'm at capacity and can't add this. If the deadline moves to next month, I can revisit. Focus brightens when you use anchors. Anchors are small actions you link to moments you live every day. You anchor decisions to routines you already have. After you make tea, you review the 2 most important blocks. After lunch, you do a quick inbox sweep. After you close your laptop, you set out tomorrow's first object. Anchors build a chain that carries you through lapses in motivation. Here is a micro practice called the 2 anchor start. Choose 2 existing anchors for your morning and afternoon. Attach one tiny planning action to each. Write it down once, place it where you see it, and follow it for 3 days. The anchors will start to feel natural by day 4. When your plate feels full, you prune by principle. You do not trim at random. You cut what is least aligned with your season's top 2 priorities. You say a clean no, and when helpful, you offer a smaller version that you can sustain. You protect your future self from debt of time and energy. I can't join the committee this quarter. I can review the briefing doc once in May and share feedback. In friendships, you stop the drip of guilt from slow replies by resetting expectations with love. You replace vague promises with a clear rhythm that you can keep. You show up when you say you will, and your consistency builds trust that lasts longer than a flurry of late-night messages. I reply slowly during the week. I'll send you a proper note Sunday afternoon. Family boundaries around unsolicited advice are easier when you prepare a steady phrase. You thank the intent and keep your decision with you. You hold a warm face and a calm tone. You repeat as needed and change the subject. Over time, the loop shortens. Thank you for caring. I'm comfortable with my choice and don't need more input on it. Your inner environment matters as much as your desk. You choose words that reduce friction inside your head. You retire always and never. You use for now and next. You stop saying I should and start saying I will or I won't. Should is mud. Will and won't are roads. Roads take you places. Here is a micro practice to clear inner mud. When you catch a should, rewrite it on paper as a will or won't. Read it out loud. Notice how your body relaxes when you stop negotiating with fog. Work gains speed when requests arrive clear. You teach clarity by modeling it. When you ask for something, you include the outcome, the format, and the time. People mirror what they receive. Your team begins to send sharper asks. Meetings shrink. Workflows. Please send a one-page summary with key risks by Thursday 2 p.m. so I can brief leadership Friday morning. Money calm deepens when you separate planning from purchasing. You plan with your logical brain, you purchase with your plan. You do not make the big decision in the store or inside the app. You make it on your quiet planning day, then you execute later with less emotion. This separation protects you from impulse and regret. I decide my big purchases on Sunday, not on the scroll. You make your home support focus by giving each room a purpose signal. One small object can carry a message. A notebook on the dining table signals conversation and planning, not doom scrolling. A basket by the door signals resets on arrival. A charger that stays in one spot signals boundaries for screens in bed. You believe the signal you set. Here is a micro practice for transitions. The doorframe pause. Each time you pass through a doorway, exhale slowly and ask, what is the next right thing in this room? Answer in one line and begin. Doorways become tiny switches that align your actions with your intent. When projects swell, you shrink to a one-page plan. A single page forces clarity. You list the outcome, the 3 milestones, the blockers, and the next action. You share it with stakeholders. You update it once a week. The page becomes a compass that keeps you from wandering into pretty but irrelevant work. Relationships get simpler when you stop mind reading. You replace assumptions with questions. You ask for the need behind the request. You offer your need without apology. You negotiate like adults who care about each other's reality. Drama dissolves when needs are named plainly. What matters most to you here, timing or quality? If it's timing, I can send a basic version today. Family logistics can leak time unless you tighten the loop. You propose one shared calendar or shared note for appointments and errands. You teach it by using it. You give it 2 weeks to take root. When someone texts for details, you reply with a kind pointer and keep it moving. All the dates are in the shared calendar. If you add new ones, I'll see them and plan around them. Your attention is a flame. Oxygen helps it burn, wind blows it out. You give it oxygen by creating white space around the important. You end 5 minutes early so you can start the next block on time. You use short buffers as tiny refuels. You hydrate, breathe, and stand. You come back brighter than if you had pushed to the last second. Here is a micro practice to create oxygen. The 5 before rule. End your current block 5 minutes early. Close loops, breathe, and set the first file for the next block. Those 5 minutes buy 15 minutes of focus on the other side. At work, you handle interruptions with a line that is kind and firm. You acknowledge, you place, you return to your task. You do not let someone else's urgency hijack your plan unless it is truly critical. You train your environment to respect your focus by respecting it yourself first. I'm in the middle of a deadline. Send the details and I'll review them after 1. With friends, you avoid calendar creep by naming the end time when you set the plan. You keep your promise to yourself and to them. Ending on time feels clean and builds trust. You leave while you still have energy to give. I'm free 6 to 8 for dinner. I'll need to head out right at 8 to rest for tomorrow. Family emergencies will still happen. You prepare a fast triage plan that protects your essentials. You know which tasks can slip, which can delegate, and which must hold. You keep a short note with contacts and next steps. Preparation lowers panic and speeds action. I can help for 1 hour today. For anything beyond that, let's schedule tomorrow afternoon or find another helper. Money choices get lighter when you cap categories by feeling, not only by number. You decide the maximum emotional cost you will pay for any purchase. If a buy causes lingering stress, the true price is too high. You choose a cheaper version or you wait. You keep peace as your profit. I choose the option that lets me sleep well, even if it costs fewer dollars or takes longer. Your digital life can be as cluttered as a garage. You reduce drag with repeating maintenance. You clear downloads on Fridays. You archive closed threads. You rename files with simple, searchable words. You resist clever names that future you will not remember. Findability is kindness. Here is a micro practice for email. The one-touch triage. When you open an email, decide in 10 seconds, reply in your next batch, schedule, delegate, or archive. Mark it accordingly. You touch messages with purpose, not indecision. When you feel scattered, you zoom out to the season. You ask which 2 priorities define this quarter. You write them on a card and carry it. Before you add anything heavy, you check the card. If it does not serve the season, it waits. Seasons let you say no without guilt. Seasons end, you will have another chance. At work, you strengthen cross-team boundaries with clarity about channels. You move decisions to the channel where they stick. You stop burying approvals in chat that will vanish. You write the decision in a shared doc and point to it. You make alignment easy to find. I've documented the decision and next steps in the project doc. Please add any edits there by tomorrow. Friendship generosity can include money without muddle when you set edges early. If you pick up the tab, you make it a gift with no strings. If you split cleanly. You avoid the gray zone where resentment grows. You choose one clear path and keep it warm. Let's split this one evenly today. Next time, I'd love to treat at my place. Family time gets sweeter when you protect small rituals. One shared breakfast, one evening tea, a quick call every Wednesday. You protect the ritual from screens and rush. Humans need anchors. Homes need rhythms. Simplicity makes room for the moments you will remember. Here is a micro practice for presence. The 5 senses check. Once today, during a meaningful moment, silently name one thing you can see, hear, feel, smell, and taste. Presence crowds out worry. Memory takes a clearer picture. You refine your yes by testing it against 3 questions. Does it serve the season? Can I deliver it well? Will I still be glad I said yes after a hard week? If any answer is no, you adjust or decline. You let your future self vote on today's commitments. She often knows what you forget. Your energy is a budget too. You do not spend it all in one place. You keep a small reserve for the unexpected. You stop scheduling every minute with effort. You leave space for joy and for repair. The reserve turns crises into inconveniences. I'm keeping one open block this week to handle surprise work without stealing from sleep. Workdays close smooth when you run a short after-action reflection. What worked? What frayed? What will I change tomorrow? 3 lines, no judgment. You learn fast because you review fast. Learning is the compound interest of calm. Money calm compounds when you practice tiny generosity on purpose. You pick one low-cost, high-love gesture each week. A postcard, a small tip, a shared snack for a team. You enjoy giving within your means. Scarcity shrinks when you practice enoughness. Here is a micro practice you can do before bed. The loose end list. Write 3 dangling items you will tie tomorrow. Put the list where you start your morning. Sleep takes the baton because your brain believes you will finish the lap. When pressure mounts, you soften your jaw, drop your shoulders, and lower your voice. Your nervous system listens to your body more than your thoughts. You speak slowly and state the next move. You let urgency pass through you without taking over. Calm is not a mood, it is a skill. You are building a life that fits inside your hands, not smaller, just clearer. Your work has boundaries that protect value. Your friendships have rhythms that protect warmth. Your family has agreements that protect respect. Your money speaks your values and buys you peace. Your days have anchors that protect focus. You are not chasing simplicity, you are practicing it, one humane system at a time. As you end today, choose one friction you will solve once. Write the tiny system, set the cue, and live it for a week. Let the system work so your mind can rest. This is the quiet power of a simplified life. fewer arguments with the day, more honest forward motion. Yesterday, you streamlined moving parts with quiet systems. You curated inputs, set rituals with friends and family, titled your dollars, and used anchors and gates to keep your day honest. Today, you refine communication, decision flow, and recovery so the simple path becomes obvious even when life tilts. Simplicity holds under pressure when you make clarity effortless. You practice saying the point first, then the reason, then the next step. You do not rush, you keep your voice steady and low. You allow silence to help your words land. You choose language that respects time, including your own. Here is a micro practice to sharpen clarity. Before you send a message, read the first sentence out loud. If it does not state the point, rewrite it to say the point in one line, then send. 1 minute, big lift. When you feel the edge of overload, you reach for triage, not drama. You ask 3 quick questions. What must ship today? What moves the needle most? What can be smaller and still work? You choose without guilt. Triage is a kindness to your nervous system and to your future self. At work, be specific about the lane you can own. When a project grows Hydra heads, you name your swim lane and the handoff. You do this in person or on a quick call so tone carries calm. You avoid vague collaboration that hides mismatched expectations. To reduce loops, I'll own drafting and version control through Wednesday. After that, reviews move to your team with a single approver. With friends, honesty prevents resentment. If a plan no longer fits, you adjust early and warmly by text. You offer a clean alternative that keeps the connection intact and your budget and energy protected. I'm shifting to a quieter weekend to reset. I'd still love time with you. Can we swap the dinner out for a home movie night on Saturday? Family conversations can carry heat that burns time and energy. You protect both with a boundary that acknowledges care and redirects to a steadier moment. Voice is good here so they hear your warmth. I want to give this the attention it deserves. I'm not deciding right now. Let's revisit tomorrow after dinner when we're both fresh. Focus thrives on upstream choices. You prevent distractions before they start by building friction into unhelpful defaults and ease into helpful ones. You do not blame yourself for being human, you design for how humans work. You make the good path the path of least resistance. Here is a micro practice that takes under a minute. Move your most tempting app to a folder named Later and place your Notes app on the dock. Then write 1 line about your next action. Your fingers will find the right icon when your willpower feels thin. Money clarity deepens when you know your floor and your buffer. Your floor is the amount you need each month for basics. Your buffer is a small cushion that absorbs surprise without panic. You name both so choices stop feeling mysterious. You look at a new expense and ask whether it threatens your buffer. The buffer becomes your quiet guardian. I'm protecting my buffer. If this purchase eats into it, I'll wait 1 pay cycle. Your calendar becomes more honest when you mark recovery as real time. Recovery is not indulgence, it is maintenance. You schedule it like a meeting with yourself. You give it a name that earns respect. Reset block, deep rest, thinking walk. You keep it short and sacred. When you honor recovery, your output improves and your boundaries grow teeth. Decision flow speeds up when you cut dead ends. You notice repeated choices that never lead anywhere useful. You build a rule and stick to it. If a meeting has no agenda by noon the previous day, you decline with a clear line. If a purchase exceeds a set threshold, you wait 72 hours by default. Rules serve you by removing micro debates. This meeting has no agenda yet, so I'll pass this time. Happy to review notes afterward and support with a specific next step. Your inner voice is the metronome of your day. You keep it steady by choosing short phrases you can believe under stress. You build a small repertoire that fits your mouth and your life. When pressure rises, you reach for 1 line and repeat until your body believes it. I can do the next right thing now. Your environment is a partner in focus. You make small, visible changes that cue purpose without shouting. A single index card with today's 2 blocks. A kitchen counter with 1 bowl and 1 mug per person to reduce dish sprawl. A desk with the current tools centered and everything else out of arm's reach. You are not styling, you are steering. Here is a micro practice called the 2-item desk. Before you begin, leave only 2 items within reach, the current tool and a water bottle. Everything else sits just beyond reach. When you finish, restore the 2-item rule. The rule reduces friction every time you return. Work boundaries get stronger when you define turnaround windows instead of living in your inbox. You tell people when you answer and you hold it. Reliability is kinder than constant availability. When someone pings repeatedly, you resist jumping mid-block and use a short script that keeps your plan intact. I'm heads down till 3. I'll review your note after and reply by 4. Friendship becomes easier when you formalize the fun you already love. You set a tiny budget line for shared joy that fits your season and you use it without apology. Joy does not need to be expensive to be real. It needs to be scheduled and protected. My joy line is $20 this week. Let's make it a picnic and a thrift store hunt. Family logistics simplify when you move from reminders to agreements. You ask for commitment to one simple, visible rule and you keep the enforcement boring and consistent. Boring is good. Boring keeps the house calm. Laundry baskets live in the hallway. Anything on the floor after 8 p.m. moves to the Saturday bin. When the day gets noisy, you return to sequence. Sequence beats motivation. You choose the smallest visible next and you do it slowly. You do not chase speed, you chase continuity. Continuity compounds into progress that lasts longer than sprints. Here is a micro practice to restore sequence. Write next, followed by 1 verb and 1 noun. Send email, open brief, sweep counter, do only that. When finished, write the next line, keep the chain. You save hours by reducing clarification loops. You end emails and chats with a single, time-bound question. You give people a hook they can grab. Without a hook, replies meander. With a hook, they answer fast and clean. Can you confirm A or B by Thursday 10 a.m. so I can finalize without guessing? Money peace grows when you make invisible fees visible. You review your last card statement for small recurring charges. You decide which are fuel and which are fog. You keep fuel. You cancel fog. You redirect the dollars to your season theme so that savings feel like a gain, not a loss. Here is a micro practice that fits in 60 seconds. Search your email for the word subscription. Cancel one you have not used in a month. Move the same amount to savings labeled calm. Close the loop. Your body is part of your focus system. You give it cues and the brain follows. You hydrate on schedule, not on hope. You stretch your neck and open your chest for 30 seconds between blocks. You step outside for 1 minute of light when possible. You treat these as switches that flip attention back on. Work relationships get calmer when you separate urgency from importance publicly. You reflect what you heard, name the timeline you can meet, and suggest the smallest test. You turn adrenaline into action that respects reality. I hear the urgency. I can deliver a 1-page outline by noon to validate direction, then a full draft tomorrow. In friendships, being a steady communicator matters more than being instant. You say when you will reply and you do it. You set the expectation once, then you reinforce by living it. Trust grows from predictability. I'm off my phone after 9. I'll reply in the morning with coffee. Family finances can be sensitive. You maintain dignity by keeping conversations fact-based and time-bound. You bring a small agenda and stick to it. You separate decisions from emotions by agreeing on numbers first, choices second. You keep the meetings short and the tone kind. For this 10-minute chat, let's list fixed costs, set a cap for gifts this month, and pick one savings move. Your plan breathes when you allow micro margins. You pad transitions with 5 minutes of nothing. You protect the white space like a fragile item. White space absorbs shocks, prevents lateness, and makes you nicer to be around. You are not less productive, you are more reliable. Here is a micro practice called the 5 and 5. Add 5 minutes at the end of your current block and 5 at the start of the next. Use the gap to reset your body and your tools. 2 small breaths of time, big return. Decision fatigue fades when you trust your past self. You document the why behind your choices while the context is fresh. 2 lines in a note, what you decided and why. When the same decision returns, you check the note and skip the debate. You are building a book of you written by you for you. At work, you remove rework by validating inputs. Before you start, you confirm the latest files, the owner of the decision, and the true due date. 10 minutes of validation saves hours of undo. You model this habit so your team adopts it. Before I dive in, can you confirm the latest brief link, the approver, and whether Friday is a hard stop? Money decisions get clearer when you create a values filter. You write 5 words that represent how you want your finances to feel. Secure, free, generous, simple, alive. You run new choices through the filter. If a choice clashes with 3 or more words, it is a no for now. The filter becomes a compass when emotions are loud. I choose what keeps my money secure, simple, and alive. Your home supports focus when every item has a landing spot at the door. Keys, bag, mail, shoes. You remove the scavenger hunt that steals minutes and patience. You teach the system to the household with 1 line and you practice it for a week. Systems become culture when repeated. Here is a micro practice for arrival. As you cross the threshold, place items in their homes and take 1 deep breath with your hand on the wall. The wall anchors you. The breath marks the transition from outside speed to inside ease. When conflict appears, you resist the urge to prove and choose to improve. You ask what success looks like for both sides and you offer 1 small experiment. You shift from positions to progress. Simplicity seeks movement, not victory laps. What outcome would feel like a win for you? Here's a tiny test we can run this week to learn fast. With friends, generosity includes clarity about time costs. You say yes to favors that fit and no to those that bend your week out of shape. You keep love in your tone and precision in your words. You offer a version you can deliver well. I can't drive across town today. I can place an order for pickup near you now. Family traditions evolve. You honor the heart while simplifying the logistics. You reduce the menu, shorten the guest list, or move the time earlier. You name the reason, more connection, less exhaustion. You invite help with 1 specific ask, not a vague call for volunteers. Can you bring the salad and arrive at 4 so we can set the table together? Focus returns faster when you end blocks with a breadcrumb. You leave a clue to your next step so you do not face a cold start. 1 unfinished, visible line is easier to re-enter than a blank page. You become a person who never starts from 0. Here is a micro practice called last line first. Before you stop, type the first words you will write next or list the first action you will take. Close the file. Tomorrow, your brain will thank you. Your financial calm grows when you rehearse key lines before you need them. You practice how you will decline pitches, upsells, and surprise fees. You match warmth with firmness. Rehearsal makes the words feel ready when pressure is live. I'm not adding extras today. Please process the base option only. Workdays feel lighter when you exit loops quickly. If a thread exceeds 3 messages without progress, you switch the channel. You propose a 5-minute call with a single goal and end with a written decision. You teach the team to value closure over chatter. Let's hop on a 5-minute call to decide A or B. then I'll document the outcome. Your sense of enough builds as you notice sufficiency in real time. You name when a drawer, a schedule, or a budget line is full. You stop stuffing. You choose to savor. Enoughness is not vague when you define it per season. I have enough plans this month. I'm protecting open evenings for rest. When the unexpected hits, you shrink the day to essentials. You move non-essential blocks forward without self-judgment. You keep one simple promise to yourself and deliver it. Keeping one promise during chaos says I can trust me, and that trust is fuel. Close today by tuning your system with 2 notes. What made life simpler? What still snagged? Adjust one cue or script. Systems are living, you evolve them with kindness and precision. Each small correction makes the next day smoother. Yesterday you built clarity under pressure, used triage to choose what mattered, and protected a small buffer of time and money that steadied your day. You practiced short lines that turned urgency into action, and you closed loops with simple agreements that saved everyone energy. Today you deepen stamina. Simplicity is not fragile, it survives busy seasons because you design for recovery, alignment, and honest pace. You stop sprinting a marathon. You shape work, friendship, and family life with boundaries that breathe. You choose a sustainable rhythm that lets your focus and your money serve the life you are actually living. You begin with pace. Pace is not speed, pace is repeatability. You set a humane tempo that you can keep on an average day, not only on perfect days. You tie your plans to that average day and watch your stress drop. If the week tilts heavy, you keep the tempo and shrink the playlist. You do less at the same pace rather than cramming more at a frantic speed. Here is a micro practice for sustainable pace. The honest block. Before you start a session, write the time you truly have and the single concrete outcome you can finish within it. If you have 30 minutes, aim for a 30-minute outcome, not a 90-minute fantasy. When the timer ends, you stop. You carry momentum into the next block instead of borrowing from your evening piece. Work steadies when you replace vague collaboration with visible agreements. You keep ownership clear and handoffs clean. You avoid drowning in quick thoughts that cost hours later. You speak in short, respectful sentences that show you value both results and relationships. To move efficiently, I'll draft the brief and you'll own stakeholder comments. Let's lock that split so we can deliver on time. Your friendships stay warm when you remember that presence beats availability. You cannot be everywhere at once, but you can be fully present where you are. You set expectations early and respond on a predictable rhythm. You choose depth over constant chatter, and you trust that real friends prefer your truth. I want to give you a focused reply. I'll send a voice note tonight after dinner. Family life calms when you attach boundaries to rituals. You decide the hours for heavy conversations and keep light topics for busy nights. You create a shared rhythm that respects capacity. If a loved one pushes past your limit, you repeat your line and move gently to the ritual that keeps connection alive. I'm not deciding this now. Let's talk it through during our Sunday check-in. Focus grows when your nervous system feels safe. Safety comes from predictability and completion. You close tiny loops so your brain can trust you. You stop telling yourself you will catch up later. You choose one thing you will truly complete now. That single completion becomes a lantern in a foggy day. Here is a micro practice that strengthens completion. The single send. Pick one message that is waiting on you, write it in 60 seconds and send it. Do not polish to perfection, aim for clear and kind. The relief you feel is your system learning that action is the default. Money clarity gets sturdier when you define your non-negotiables. Housing, groceries, essential transport, baseline health. These are the bills that keep you steady. You protect them first, then you make art with what remains. When surprise costs appear, you do not panic. You adjust the art, not the foundation. You decide once that your basics are sacred and you align choices accordingly. I protect the essentials first, everything else flexes. You reduce friction by shaping your environment in the direction of your goals. Your desk says focus. Your kitchen says simple fuel. Your entry says reset. You pair each space with one tiny habit, then you let the habit run most days without drama. You move tools into the paths your hands already travel and remove clutter that steals motion. Here is a micro practice for environmental cues. The runway. At the end of a work block, lay out the first file and write the first line for tomorrow's start. Place water within reach. Turn off all notifications. When you arrive next time, you feel pulled forward instead of dragged back. At work, you strengthen your boundary with a polite gate on last-minute asks that are not truly emergencies. You acknowledge the need, offer the smallest viable help now, and protect your deeper commitments. Each time you hold the gate, you train your environment to respect your focus. I can send a quick bullet summary by 4. For a full analysis, the earliest I can deliver is Tuesday morning. Friend boundaries include money and time. You can love your people and limit your spend. You offer a plan that fits so you can show up without worry. When they suggest something that stretches you, you keep your tone light and your line firm. I'm keeping this month modest. I'm in for a potluck and a walk. I'm skipping the pricey brunch. Family patterns shift when you move from reminders to shared ownership. You stop being the default manager of everything. You write responsibilities where everyone can see them. If the system slips, you point to the agreement rather than raising your voice. Calm repetition builds culture faster than scolding. Let's agree on the shopping list by Friday evening. If it's not on the list, it waits for the next week. Be kind, be clear, be consistent. Resilience grows when you recover on purpose. Recovery is not optional, it is one of your core tasks. You schedule brief rest with the same respect you give to meetings. You treat a 10-minute walk and a glass of water as performance tools. You protect sleep with simple cues that your body recognizes. Dim light, quiet room, a short written closure, then one page of calm reading. Here is a micro practice to trigger recovery fast. The 3 downshifts. Breathe out longer than you breathe in, drop your shoulders and lower your voice, do it anywhere. Your body delivers the message to your brain, we are safe enough to focus again. Decision flow lightens when you use small thresholds. You decide what gets a meeting, what gets a message, and what gets archived. You decide which purchases require a pause, which can proceed, and which always wait for month end. Thresholds replace ad hoc debates. They save your energy for work that actually moves the needle. This request is under my threshold for a meeting. Send me 3 bullets and I'll reply by tomorrow. Money anxiety eases when you separate numbers from identity. Your balance is not your worth. Your debt is not your character. Your savings are not your safety on their own. Your choices are. You look at the numbers, you name the truth, and you make one small improvement this cycle. The improvement might be a renegotiated bill, a canceled subscription, or a tiny transfer toward your cushion. You celebrate the behavior, not only the amount. I make clear choices and let the numbers reflect them over time. Your focus becomes more durable when you stop fighting your natural cycles. You plan heavy work when your body tends to be strong. You plan light work when you tend to dip. You do not complain about lows, you design for them. On low-energy afternoons, you batch admin, stretch, listen to one song that lifts you, and run a micro-sprint that is easy to start. Here is a micro-practice for a low-energy block. The 5-2, work 5 minutes on a laughably small step, then take 2 minutes to reset your posture and eyes. Repeat twice. Most resistance melts once motion begins. At work, you decrease rework by insisting on a single approver and a deadline that breathes. Multiple approvers create chaos. You ask who has the final yes and you capture it in writing. You propose realistic timelines that include a polishing window. You sound calm because your plan includes oxygen. To keep this tight, who is the single approver? I'll target a draft by Tuesday and hold Wednesday afternoon for edits. Friend relationships whether change when you narrate your season. You do not vanish, you explain the shift with respect. You offer a path to stay connected that you can keep. You do not apologize for honoring your bandwidth. You trust the relationship to hold honesty. I'm in a focused season and keeping nights quiet. Walks on Saturday mornings are open if you want to catch up then. Family requests can turn into standing obligations unless you reset gently. You replace an open-ended yes with a specific cadence that works for you. When the old pattern tugs, you return to the cadence with warmth and no drama. Consistency turns new boundaries into normal. I can help with rides every other Thursday. If you need extra, please ask by Monday so I can plan. You protect attention by stringing your day with anchors. Wake, one line of plan. Midday, one line of review. Late afternoon, one line of closure. 3 lines, 3 moments, one stable spine. The spine carries you through noise and frees you to show up with calm intensity. Here is a micro practice to strengthen your spine. The one-line loop. Write 1 line at 9, 1 at 1, 1 at 5. Plan, adjust, close. Keep the same notebook and the same pen in the same spot. Every repetition makes the habit easier to start. Money clarity sharpens when you define your stop lines. You choose an upper limit for categories that sprawl under stress. Dining out, online shopping, small upgrades. You set a cap that still feels generous and you stop when you hit it. You redirect surplus energy into free joys. Stop lines prevent the slow creep that steals from your bigger goals. My dining cap is reached this month. I'm switching to home meals and inviting friends over. Your inner voice can leak urgency even when your plan is sound. You replace anxious self-talk with clear commands that your body can follow. You do not argue with nerves, you give them a job. The job is specific, achievable, and near-term. Open the file and write the first sentence. Work flows better when you separate the next draft from the final polish. You label your draft so others know what kind of feedback you seek. You guide their eyes to structure first, language second. You save time by preventing surface edits on a piece that is not ready. You live in the right stage at the right time. Requesting structure feedback only on this draft. Language and tone will be refined after we confirm flow. Friendship agreements around time keep love safe from resentment. When you host, you set a clear window and a light plan that fits your budget. You enjoy the visit because you are not silently counting costs. You end on time and follow up with a small note that keeps warmth alive. I'm hosting 5 to 7 on Saturday. I'll make soup, bring your favorite drink. Family peace benefits from pre-decided topics. You pick one fun theme for a shared meal and declare certain heated topics out of bounds for that hour. You protect the table as a place for connection. You are not ignoring reality, you are choosing the right time for heavy lifts. Tonight is movie talk and travel dreams. The budget chat lives in Sunday's slot. Simplicity becomes robust when you reinforce it with small wins that you can feel. You measure what you keep doing, not only what you hope for. Blocks protected, boundaries held, dollars aligned. You mark your wins on a small card and let the pattern become obvious. Obvious patterns are easier to defend than vague intentions. Here is a micro practice to lock in wins. The 3 ticks. At day's end, tick a box for focus, boundary, and money. 2 ticks is a win, 3 is a bonus. Tomorrow you try again. If a colleague resists your boundaries, you respond with steadiness, not stories. You restate the plan and offer the next time you are available. You do not fill silence with apologies. Silence is not a problem, it is space for the other person to adjust. I'm not available now, I can review this at 2. If that timing does not work, send the file and I'll reply in my next window. If a friend pushes for more than you have, you tell the truth early. You hold the friendship by protecting your capacity. I care about you and I'm at capacity. I can listen for 15 minutes tonight, or we can plan for a weekend catch-up. If a family member uses guilt to reopen a closed topic, you step out of the pattern. You validate their feeling without changing your decision. You change the channel with kindness and move on. I hear that you're disappointed. My decision stands. Let's focus on the plan we agreed for Sunday. Focus returns quickest when you remove the first friction. You do not need an hour, you need a start. You stand, breathe, and touch the work. Your body leads your mind back to movement. Your mind thanks your body by quieting the noise. Money ease increases when you design joy into your budget. You plan small, regular treats that fit. When joy is planned, impulse loses power. You experience delight without the hangover of regret. You spend on purpose and savor fully. I budget for tiny joys so I don't buy big regrets. You also build a habit of graceful exits. Projects, chats, rooms, habits. Exiting is a skill that frees time for what matters. You exit with a line that closes the loop and signals respect. Your quiet, clean exits become part of your simple signature. Wrapping here so I can keep my next block. Thank you for the progress. I'll pick up tomorrow. Your day is a garden. You water what you want to grow. You do not uproot the garden to check if the seeds are sprouting. You make small, regular moves that compound. You practice stamina more than heroics. You protect your morning lane, your recovery moments, and your money direction. Over time, the garden shows your care. Close today with one question that guides calm momentum. What will I keep repeating when life gets noisy? You write one sentence about your anchor habit for work, one for relationships, and one for money. You read them aloud. You feel your pace settle into something you can live inside, even when the wind picks up. This is my pace, I can keep it. Yesterday you deepened stamina with humane pace, clean handoffs, and recovery you could actually keep. You protected essentials first, practiced graceful exits, and used small anchors to steady work, friendships, family, and money when the week tilted. Today you build strategic simplicity. You create lightweight frameworks that help you decide once and act many times. You make rules that are kind to your future self. You remove ambiguity from the places that drain you and add clarity where you earn the biggest return. You keep your words short, your steps small, and your direction clear. You are not chasing more strength, you are reducing the need for it. Start with a personal operating question that guides every big decision. What outcome matters most 3 months from now? 3 months is close enough to feel and far enough to guide. You place this question at the top of a note, and each time a new demand arrives, you test it there. If it serves the next 3 months, you fit it into your plan. If it does not, you park it with zero guilt. This is how you turn seasons into filters instead of fog. Here is a micro practice that takes under a minute. Name your season's 2 priorities in 5 words or fewer each. Write them on a small card. Place the card by your keyboard or in your wallet. Before you add any new heavy commitment, touch the card and say the 2 priorities out loud. Your voice reminds your nervous system who is driving. Decision speed rises when you predefine thresholds. You choose a dollar cap for unplanned spending, a time cap for ad hoc work, and a social cap for weekly nights out. You write the caps once, then you live them. The cap is a guardrail, not a punishment. It saves you from explaining yourself every time because the rule speaks for you. I'm at my week's social cap. I can plan for next Friday instead. At work, scope clarity is your ally. You reduce vague asks by switching to a short, structured reply that squeezes ambiguity out of the request. You move the conversation from opinions to definitions so that delivery becomes possible. You do not need a perfect process, you need a few precise lines. To confirm scope, what does finished look like in a sentence? What's the single date that matters and who signs off? I'll commit once those are set. With friends, you turn good intentions into rhythms you can hold. You pick a repeating window for connection that respects your budget and energy, and you stick to it even when the week gets loud. You stop overpromising and start showing up predictably. Predictability is intimacy's quiet friend. Sunday afternoon is my catch-up window. I'll send you a voice note then so we can stay close. Family boundaries get lighter when you shift from defending to defining. You predefine what you will discuss when and for how long. When a conversation veers into your private choices, you use a kind line that both acknowledges and closes. You are not stonewalling, you are channeling. I've heard your view, I'm not taking more input on this. Let's enjoy dinner and save decisions for our Sunday plan time. Focus becomes simple once you decide where it lives. You select one daily block as sacred, even if it is only 30 minutes. You protect it with visible cues, calendar holds, a closed door, or a status line. You train your environment by using the same language each time. Over a few weeks, people learn, and so do you. I'm in my focus block till 11. I'll answer messages at noon. Money clarity grows stronger when you separate planning, purchasing, and reviewing. You plan on a quiet day, you purchase according to the plan, and you review once a week without shame. You are not punishing past you, you are teaching future you. You make each review tiny and factual. You look for patterns, not perfection. You adjust one lever at a time. Here is a micro practice for your next review. Name the single category that felt too tight and the single category that felt too loose. Shift a small dollar amount from loose to tight for the next week. Label the move with the feeling it supports, like calm or connection. Small shifts teach your brain that you can change the story without drama. Your environment can carry decisions for you. You remove the decision to open certain apps by logging out after each use and moving their icons away from your thumb's path. You put water on your desk to remove the decision to hydrate. You lay out walking shoes by the door to remove the decision to move. When the friction to do the right thing is lower than the friction to avoid it, the day starts making sense. Here is a micro practice called single switch. Pick one habit you want more of. Add one physical switch that makes it the easiest option. Charger in the kitchen, not the bedroom. Book on the pillow, not the nightstand. Notes app on the dock, social folder 2 swipes away. One switch, 1 week, noticeable change. Your calendar becomes a portfolio of energy, not only time. You allocate slots the way an investor allocates capital. A portion to deep work, a portion to maintenance, a portion to learning, a portion to joy and recovery. You stop stacking heavy after heavy. You interleave weights so your next block benefits from the last. You design flow the way a chef designs a kitchen, efficient, clean, repeatable. When pressure rises at work, you protect the runway for quality by offering a tiered option rather than a brittle yes or no. You name a minimal version you can deliver now and a fully baked version that needs time. This reduces panic while protecting standards. I can ship a basic draft by end of day or a polished version by Thursday noon, which serves the goal. Friendship money boundaries stay warm when you talk cost before plans harden. You share your range with zero apology and propose something that fits it. You trust that honesty early prevents awkwardness later. You lead with options so saying yes is easy. My range is $15 to $20 this week. Picnic at the park or a matinee would be perfect for me. Family logistics grow smoother when you stop owning the whole puzzle. You map recurring tasks and assign them clearly. You add timing, not just names, and you build in a simple fallback plan for misses. When the plan slips, you point back to the map without heat and try again. Culture changes by repetition, not lectures. Let's put pickups on a shared note with names and times. If someone can't make a slot, swap inside the note by noon the day before. You simplify communication by making the first line carry the weight. Point first, context second, next step last. People respond faster because they know what to do. You reduce the back and forth that eats days. You sound decisive because you are precise. Focus strengthens when you end each block with a breadcrumb. You write the first few words of the next paragraph, paste the link you will need, or stage the next spreadsheet tab. Breadcrumbs cut reentry time in half. They also reduce the urge to avoid the next block because the start is already done. Here is a micro practice you can repeat today. Leave one unfinished, obvious line in the file you will open tomorrow. Not 10 lines, one your brain loves finishing. It will pull you back in without a fight. Money confidence improves when you use tiny automation with manual attention. You autopay fixed essentials and auto-transfer a small amount to savings on payday, then you manually review discretionary choices weekly. Automation handles the boring, attention shapes the meaningful. This mix gives you stability and agency. I move a set amount the moment I'm paid. I choose the rest with eyes open. At work, social boundaries matter as much as task boundaries. Quick comments and side quests can derail your lane. You train yourself to ask for clarity about priority and impact before you say yes. If it is not in the top tier, it waits. If it belongs elsewhere, you route it kindly. To keep priorities clean, where does this sit relative to the launch deliverables? If it's lower, I'll schedule it after Wednesday. With friends, you avoid resentment by naming the end time when you plan, then you live it. You end on time with warmth, not apology. You leave while you can still bring your best self. The relationship learns that your yes is solid and your time is real. I'm in for coffee 10 to 11. I'll head out right at 11 so I can protect a focus block. Family conversations about money stay respectful when you separate facts from feelings openly. You agree to list numbers first, then talk options. You cap the time. You end with one decision and one next step. You refuse to spiral. A short, steady meeting beats a long, heated one. For the next 15 minutes, let's list totals, pick one change, and assign the next action. We can revisit next week. Inside your head, you retire vague pressure words that make the day feel bigger than it is. You trade should for will or won't. You trade later for a time on the calendar. You trade maybe for the smallest test. Language shapes behavior. Clean words create clean moves. Here is a micro practice to reset language. When you hear yourself say later, pause and choose a time. If the task is small, place it inside today. If the task is large, give it a block this week. Then stop thinking about it until the block begins. Scheduled is solved. Attention becomes more available when you treat your body like a partner, not a vehicle. You pick one posture cue and one hydration cue, and you follow them whether you feel like it or not. Your brain's ability to focus improves when your body believes it is safe and supported. This is not luxury, this is mechanics. Recovery belongs in your plan as a performer's tool. You assign the day a closing ritual you can keep. 5 lines in a notebook, or a short walk around the block, or a shower with the lights low to signal the end. Without closure, your brain keeps scanning. With closure, it rests and stores. Rest is not a reward. Rest is part of the work. At work, escalation can eat hours if you let it. You de-escalate by narrowing. You define the single decision, the single decider, and the smallest test. You propose a timeline and stick to it. Adrenaline quiets when the path is specific. To move this forward, we need a yes on A or B from Jordan by 3. I'll run a one-day test on the chosen path and share results tomorrow. Friendship deepens when you celebrate in small, timely ways. You set a tiny budget line for congratulations and keep a stack of simple cards ready. A fast, heartfelt note beats a delayed, grand gesture you never send. You are building a reputation for showing up in ways you can sustain. I'm proud of you. I'm cheering from here. Tell me one moment you want to remember from today. Family peace holds when you refuse to rehearse old arguments. You notice the trigger, you take a breath, and you choose a different move. You ask a question that shifts the conversation to shared ground. You opt out of the loop without withdrawing love. What do you need most from me right now? A solution or just someone to listen for a minute? Focus survives noisy environments when you compress goals. You state the smallest outcome that would make this hour a success and ignore everything else. You do not multitask, you sequence. You do not chase perfect, you chase done that serves the outcome. You deliver, rest, then decide the next right block. Here is a micro practice called Hour Win. Write one sentence. If I finish X by the end of this hour, today moves forward. Keep it visible. When the hour ends, if you did it, write one line of gratitude to yourself for protecting it. If you did not, write one line about what got in the way and adjust a single lever for the next hour. Money calm gets real when you price your time. You learn your rough hourly value for focused work and for rest. You compare purchases and commitments against that value. If a task eats 3 hours and saves fewer dollars than your focused hour is worth, you reconsider. If a tool saves time with a low cost, you weigh it against your deeper goals and season. You are not being stingy or extravagant, you are being aligned. I choose options that save my best hours for what matters most. At work, you also protect your attention from drive-by feedback. You define when and how feedback happens. You invite it at checkpoints rather than living open to interruption. You think quick thoughts and route them back into the system. Great to hear your input. Please add comments in the doc by 2 so I can review in the edit window. With friends, you care out loud in ways that do not fracture your day. You use short, rich messages sent at scheduled times. You send photos from your walk, a quick joke, or a small update. You keep relationships warm with embers, not bonfires you cannot maintain. I'm thinking of you, sending a little sunlight from my street today. Family obligations settle when you move from favors to agreements. You replace unspoken expectations with clear, time-bound commitments. You plan help you can actually deliver. You let the rest be a no without theater. You will be kinder when you are not overextended. I can help with the move from 9 to 11 on Saturday. If more is needed, let's plan another window next week. Your inner stance toward money and focus becomes decisive without becoming harsh. You give yourself grace for the past and firmness for the present. You repeat small, steady behaviors because they work, not because you feel like a machine. You are human and your systems respect that. Your systems bend, they do not break. Here is a micro practice for flexible firmness. When you miss a block or a budget line, write 2 lines. What I will repeat because it works, what I will change by 1 notch. Then act on the 1 notch change within 24 hours. You move fast enough to matter and gently enough to continue. Clarity scales when you document once and reuse. You turn a strong message into a template. You turn a clean process into a checklist. You turn a solved puzzle into a tiny FAQ for your team or your home. You save future hours by spending 1 thoughtful hour now. Reuse is respect for your own effort. You close today by naming a single rule you will test for the next 7 days. 1 rule for work boundaries, 1 for friendship rhythm, 1 for family logistics, and 1 for money. Rules should be short enough to memorize and kind enough to keep. You write them where your eyes land and you live them without fanfare. At the end of the week, you keep what worked and retire what didn't. This is not about willpower, it is about design. I design my day so the right choice is the easy choice. Yesterday, you built strategic simplicity with season filters, caps that protect energy, and clean first lines that moved work forward. You taught your tools and your spaces to carry decisions so your mind could focus on the few outcomes that matter. Today, you integrate. You weave focus, boundaries, and money clarity into 1 living system that adjusts in real time. You build graceful responses for edge cases, reinforce habits with small proofs, and plan recovery so momentum survives surprise. You make simple durable. Start by naming your operating rhythm out loud. Morning holds 1 deep block and 1 human connection. Afternoon holds maintenance and a short reset. Evening holds closure and a small joy. You do not need perfection, you need a pattern your nervous system recognizes. When the day tilts, you shrink blocks, not the rhythm. Rhythm survives, pace flexes. Here is a micro practice to prove your rhythm. Right now, schedule one 25-minute deep block tomorrow, one 15-minute maintenance slot, and one 10-minute closure. Place them where they fit. Add one small joy labeled on purpose. Your calendar becomes a contract with your calmer self. At work, integration means your boundaries and your output support each other. You do not trade one for the other. You write shorter briefs with sharper asks so collaboration gets simpler. You state your availability and keep it. You deliver on time because you protected the time. You sound calm because your plan is real. To keep quality high, I'm reserving 9 to 11 for deep work. I'll be available after for quick decisions. Friendships gain strength when your systems include them. You plan connection without blowing your budget or your energy. You choose formats that fit the week's weight. A voice note in a heavy week, a slow meal in a light week. You tell the truth about your capacity early so no one waits in the dark. I want time with you and I'm at capacity on weeknights. Can we walk Saturday morning and catch up properly? Family life steadies when agreements replace interpretations. You write simple rules and keep enforcement gentle and consistent. You stop narrating and start pointing. You protect topics for the right time, not the loudest moment. You hold the line with warmth so connection can breathe. We're not deciding this now. Add it to Sunday's plan list and we'll give it full attention then. Money clarity becomes muscle memory when you connect dollars to days. You stop treating money as separate from time and energy. You ask each expense what work it asks of you and whether the trade is clean. You price your peace. You choose enough over edge. I spend to support calm and connection, not to escape noise. Edge cases will test your system. A boss asks for a rush outside your deep block. A friend invites you to an event beyond your budget. A family member needs help during your protected rest. Integration does not mean saying no to everything. It means you route the request through your filters, then respond clearly. You offer versions and timing that honor your reality. I can deliver a quick outline by 3 today or a full draft by tomorrow noon. Which serves the goal? I'm keeping this month tight. I can join if we swap to a free plan, or I can meet after for coffee at my place. I can help for 1 hour today. For anything beyond that, let's schedule tomorrow afternoon. Here is a micro practice for live triage. The 3-finger check. Touch thumb to index, middle, and ring as you silently ask 3 questions. Does this serve my season? Can I do it well with current energy? What is the smallest useful version? Answer, then speak 1 line. Your body marks the decision, your voice delivers it. Your focus deepens when you create graceful failure modes. You assume some blocks will break. You write a backup move for each priority. If the deep block falls, you run a micro sprint of 10 minutes on the core step. If the walk fails, you do 10 slow squats and 2 long breaths. If the review slips, you set a 5-minute alarm and scan for red flags only. You reduce 0 days to almost 0 days, which keep momentum alive. Here is a micro practice that lifts broken days. The almost 0. Name the tiniest version of progress for today's top 3, 1 paragraph, 1 reply, 1 number check. Do those and stop. Pride returns because action returned. Communication becomes a tool for peace when you standardize handoffs. You end messages with a single choice or a single confirmed time. You invite decisions rather than discussion when decisions are what you need. You thank fast replies and shape the culture by modeling clarity. Please confirm A or B by 2 p.m. so I can move without guessing. With friends, you avoid silent disappointment by stating your limits and your joy at the same time. Joy makes limits easier to receive. Limits make joy possible to sustain. I'm skipping late nights right now and I'd love a long lunch Sunday. I'm fully yours for that window. Family boundaries soften when you hold eye contact and lower your voice. The body carries most of the message. You are not performing, you are regulating. You offer respect without surrender. You repeat your line once, then change the subject or step away. I hear you, my decision stands. Let's pick a lighter topic for tonight. Money clarity simplifies choices when you translate abstract goals into visible trackers. You draw a small bar for your cushion fund. You fill it week by week. You label it with the feeling it buys. Feelings motivate more than numbers. Numbers confirm the truth you're building. Here is a micro practice for value-based spending. Before you buy, speak the feeling you expect and the feeling you want to remember. If they match, proceed. If they clash, pause one day. Attention and recovery need a treaty. You cannot ask your brain for focus all day without paying the recovery bill. You schedule micro-rest that does not require a whole mood shift. You build tiny rituals that switch your state. Cold water on wrists, sunlight at the door, one favorite song standing up, a sip of tea after a deep breath. You train your body to re-enter focus quickly. Workdays run smoother when you constrain collaboration windows. You choose 1 or 2 slots for live decisions and funnel requests there. You answer thoroughly inside the window and stay offline for deep work outside it. You are not remote, you are rhythmic. To keep momentum, I make decisions live at 11 and 4. Add topics to the board and I'll handle them then. With friends, generosity includes planning around their lives too. Your simple plan may not match their bandwidth. You ask instead of assuming. You propose 2 aligned options so the yes is easy and the no is clean. Healthy friendships are a loop of clarity, not a tug of war. What would feel easier for you this week? A short call Wednesday or a walk Saturday? Family cooperation grows when you let natural consequences teach. You resist rescuing that erases agreements. You keep help inside the frame you all set. You model adulthood by honoring boundaries, including your own. We agreed on the shared list by Friday. I'll shop from what's there. Anything missing rolls to next week. Your inner narrator still decides whether the day feels kind. You erase lingering self-judgment with factual language. You stop labeling yourself as lazy or behind. You name the constraint, choose the next right move, and act. Self-respect is the engine of consistency. Here is a micro practice to reset tone. Write one sentence that starts with "because reality is X, I will Y, keep it boring and true." Read it, then move. Integration also means designing for money and focus to help each other. You stop buying tools that create new inboxes. You choose fewer, better tools and set rules for how you use them. You cancel upgrades that promise magic without behavior change. You invest in anything that reliably returns time, attention, or needed relief within your season's cap. I buy tools that reduce friction I feel weekly, not friction I might feel someday. Edge case: conflict with a manager who lives in urgent mode. You cannot fix their nervous system, but you can hold your lane. You restate priorities you were given, propose small tests, and request a single decider. You make trade-offs explicit in writing. You keep your voice low and your receipts tidy. To meet the launch date, I'll pause the side task and focus on the critical path. If priorities change, confirm by email so I can adjust today. Edge case: a friend in crisis who needs you past your set window. You widen for a day, not a month. You show up, then you reset the boundary with care. You offer a new cadence that you can keep, so care remains and burnout does not. I'm here tonight. After this, I need to return to early nights. Let's plan a check-in call Sunday. Edge case: family money ask that conflicts with your cushion. You hold the cushion. You offer support that does not break your foundation. You do not apologize for stability, you build from it. I can't send cash. I can help you make calls, find options, and review a plan this weekend. Money steadiness grows when you audit your time leaks like you audit subscriptions. You list your top 3 attention drains and price them. If a daily scroll costs an hour, multiply by your focused hour value. Seeing the cost makes the choice clearer. You replace one leak with one joy that fits your budget and supports your season. Here is a micro practice called swap and save. Pick one time leak today and replace it with a free joy for the same minutes. A walk, a stretch, a chapter, a tidy. Transfer $5 to your cushion to mark the swap. Small proof fuels belief. Your space should whisper your current season. You rotate visible objects so cues match goals. If learning is a theme, keep the book on the table. If calm is the theme, reduce surfaces to bare essentials and one small plant. If health is the theme, stage the mat and shoes. You keep signals honest. Work communication gets lighter when you declare the feedback frame. Structure, facts, or polish. You ask for the right lens and you give it in return. You save hours by preventing cross-purpose comments. Requesting facts check only by noon. Structure is locked. Style will be tuned after. Friend invitations land better when you include logistics that fit real life. Cost, time, and energy in one line. You take the planning burden off the other person. Clarity is a gift. Picnic at the park noon to 2. Bring water and one snack. Zero cost full catch-up. Family rooms feel calmer when you add one communal reset. 10 minutes after dinner, everyone touches two surfaces and clears them. You use a timer and a single playlist. Ritual replaces nagging. The house learns to return to neutral. Here is a micro practice you can try tonight. The 10-minute tide. Set a timer, play one song, and clear the entry and kitchen counter to neutral. When the timer ends, stop. Small tides daily change the shoreline. Money confidence increases when you know your emergency choreography. You write 3 steps for a financial surprise. Pause non-essential spend, move a fixed amount from a mini reserve, call 2 providers to negotiate. You practice the calls once in a calm week so your voice knows the words. Preparedness shrinks fear. I'm calling to see what relief options exist. I want to stay in good standing while I navigate a short-term crunch. Focus survives travel and holidays when you carry a pocket version of your system. One line morning plan, one midday check, one closure line, one small money rule for the trip like cash envelopes or a daily cap. One boundary sentence for family. Minimal system, maximum continuity. I'm keeping a daily cap of $40 on food and fun. If we want to go bigger, I'll swap tomorrow's plan to balance. Your reputation becomes a tool. People learn that your yes is solid, your no is kind, your work is on time, and your money choices are steady. Reputation reduces future friction. You need fewer words, fewer debates, fewer reminders. Simple starts to travel with you. Here is a micro practice to feed reputation. Choose one promise today that someone is not expecting early. Deliver it one day ahead with a one-line note. Your future requests will move faster because trust compounding is real. When setbacks hit, you do not scrap the system, you use it. You return to your season card, your sacred block, your closure ritual, your money minute. You rebuild in small lines. You celebrate the return to rhythm more than any single win. Identity lives in what you repeat. Work remains humane when you remember that other people also have seasons and caps. You ask about constraints before pushing. You offer 2 options and a clear next. You seek progress, not points. Your influence grows because you make things easier. What constraint should I know before proposing a timeline? Here are 2 paths, which one fits your week. Friendships stay rich when you share your edges and your hopes, not only your logistics. You say what matters to you this month so your people can support the real you. You ask what matters to them. This is intimacy in everyday clothes. My theme is rest and steady work. If I go quiet, that's why. I'd love a Sunday walk to stay connected. Family love holds when you refuse to fight old wars. You keep conversations in the current season. You name what is working. You ask for one change with a simple why. You repeat once. Then you live your choice and let time do some of the teaching. I appreciate that we're planning earlier. One more ask. Let's keep texts about money for the Sunday slot so we both stay calm. Close the loop today with a short review you can keep. 3 lines. What made work smoother where a boundary held how money matched values? You let small wins change your posture. You let tiny misses adjust your levers. You keep the wheel light and in motion. Here is a micro practice to seal the day. The proof list. Write 3 proofs that your system works: a task finished inside a block, a kind no you delivered, a dollar moved with intention. Read them once. Your brain stores evidence. Evidence fuels tomorrow's effort. You are living a simple life built on design, not willpower. Your focus sits inside real blocks. Your boundaries are short and warm. Your money choices tell the same story as your calendar. You do not chase complexity to feel important. You choose clarity to feel present. You trust the compound interest of small, repeated moves. Simple is not fragile. Simple is resilient because it is honest. This is enough for today. I did what matters and I protected what matters. Yesterday you integrated your systems so focus, boundaries, and money work together instead of competing. You practiced live triage, graceful failure modes, and tiny rituals that kept momentum when life tilted. Today you close the circle. You distill everything into a few durable promises that carry you through changing seasons. You design a light, repeatable cadence for work, friends, and family that respects your money and your energy. You name how you rebuild when you wobble. You don't chase a perfect self. You keep choosing a simpler one you can live as today. Begin with your compass. You choose 3 words that describe the kind of day you run: steady, spacious, precise. You let those words shape tone and timing. When noise rises, you read them and return. You make fewer, better moves because you aren't performing urgency, you're practicing direction. You stop bargaining with tasks that don't matter. You follow your 3 words. Here is a micro practice to set the compass. Write your 3 words at the top of today's plan. Before any yes, touch the words and ask if the request matches at least 2. If it doesn't, it waits. If it does, you schedule it cleanly. The compass replaces mood with method. You turn focus into a daily signature. Mornings hold your hardest thinking when possible. Afternoons hold service, support, and small loops. Evenings hold closures and care. You defend the signature against drift with short, strong lines. You allow exceptions for emergencies and then you reset without drama. Signatures are how identity shows up in a calendar. I'm protecting my 9 to 11 focus block so I can deliver on time. I'll review messages at noon. At work, you build clarity into your openings and endings so your middle stays calm. You open with the decision or deliverable. You end with the one ask and a timestamp. You propose tiered options when timelines clash with quality. You tie every request to the outcome the team cares about. People lean in because you make the path easy to see and easy to choose. To hit Friday's outcome, I'll send a lean draft by 3 for direction only, then a polished version by noon tomorrow. Please confirm A or B by 4 so I can move without guessing. With friends, you trade occasional guilt for consistent connection. You plan in formats you can keep: a weekly voice note, a Saturday walk, a once-a-month dinner you budget for in advance. You say your limits as early as your love. You don't apologize for a life with edges. You invite people to meet you where your presence is real. I'm keeping weeknights quiet. Want a long walk Sunday at 9 so we can catch up properly. Family peace grows when you build small agreements and let consistency teach. You stop persuading in heated moments and move topics to the agreed time. You replace open-ended yes with time-bound help. You separate emergency from preference. You hold your line with warmth so the relationship stays intact while the pattern changes. I can help Saturday 10 to 11. Anything beyond that needs to move to next weekend or find another helper. Money becomes simple when it tells your story. Your categories reflect your values: shelter as stability, food as fuel, savings as calm, giving as connection, fun as joy. You give each dollar a job you believe in. You check your numbers once a week for 60 seconds. You make one small change that supports the season and you stop. Consistency beats overhaul. Here is a micro practice called the money glance. Open balances, read your cushion number out loud, move $5 to savings labeled calm, and close the app. You just told your brain a truth you can live. Small, steady moves build safety. Your inner stance towards setbacks decides whether your systems survive. You keep a restart ritual so you never wait for Monday. You restart with one closure, one focus, one kindness. Closure: send one message that's waiting on you. Focus: 10 minutes on the core step of your one thing. Kindness: a glass of water and a breath that's longer on the way out. 3 moves, 0 theatrics. Here is a micro practice to anchor restarts. Write a sticky note that says closure, focus, kindness, and leave it on your laptop. Each time you drift, run the 3 in order. Your body learns that falling off is followed by coming back. You reduce future friction by choosing templates you actually use. A scope confirmation, a kind decline, a meeting rescue. You store them where your fingers live. You customize one line and send. The energy you save stops bleeding into resentment. Your tone stays human because you built it on a calm day. This is outside my capacity this week. If timing shifts to next Tuesday, I can reevaluate. Otherwise, I recommend O or B so you're not blocked. Your space speaks before you do. You keep it light enough to cue attention without demanding energy to maintain. A clear entry, a tidy desk, a simple kitchen counter. Everything has a home with a label if needed. You schedule 10-minute tides that return surfaces to neutral. The house gives focus back because it isn't asking questions every time you walk through. Here is a micro practice called the end of day sweep. For 60 seconds, reset the surface you'll see first tomorrow: desk, counter, bag. Put one calming object where your eyes will land. You are preloading tomorrow with ease. You treat attention like an investment. You place your highest return work inside a block with a door, a sign, and a plan. You put low return tasks in the dips you expect. You stop letting adrenaline choose your schedule. You choose it, then you teach your nervous system to trust the choice by living it for a week at a time. I'm offline for deep work till 10:30. If you need me, add it to the board and I'll handle it in the 11 a.m. window. With friends, you make money talk easy by naming ranges early. You offer 2 plans that fit your season. You don't wait until the bill arrives to discover misalignment. Clarity keeps generosity clean and fun alive. My range this week is $15 to $20. Park picnic or matinee are perfect for me. Family finances get calmer when you keep facts and choices separate. You agree to list numbers first, cap time, and leave with a single next step. You build trust by keeping your word even when the answer is no. You build momentum by choosing one change each week instead of wrestling with everything at once. For the next 15 minutes, let's list fixed costs, pick one change, and assign the next action. I'll start the call with the provider on Tuesday. You structure recovery the way you structure delivery. You name a daily reset you can keep and a weekly reset you look forward to. Daily: a short walk, soft light, gentle music, a page of reading. Weekly: an hour without screens, a batch of meals, a slow call with someone who speaks your language. Rest stops being a reward you earn and becomes the fuel you use. Here is a micro practice to protect sleep. 10 minutes before bed, dim one light, write a one-line plan for tomorrow's start, and move your phone to charge outside the bedroom. Your body will learn the cue and the day will end without argument. Your words shape your nervous system. You retire self-judgment and use instruction. You stop saying "I'm failing" and start saying "open the file." You stop saying "I'm terrible with money" and start saying "check the cushion." You give yourself simple verbs and nearby nouns. You move because the command is clear. Open the brief and write the first sentence. At work, you end ambiguity by rooting decisions in the smallest test. You move from debate to data fast. You protect quality and timelines by choosing what you can prove in a day. People calm down when they can see progress. To de-risk this, I'll run a one-day test on option A and share results by 3 tomorrow. If it passes, we scale. In friendship, you turn care into rhythm instead of spikes. You practice small acts that repeat, a weekly check-in, a shared playlist, a birthday reminder that triggers a card you can actually send. Your love becomes a habit your future self can carry through busy seasons. I'm thinking of you. Tell me one good thing from your week and one tiny annoyance I can laugh at with you. Family boundaries stick when you match your tone to your intent. You keep your voice low, your words plain, your face steady. You don't argue your right to a limit, you live it. You leave on time even if someone is disappointed. Over time, your consistency becomes the expectation and the tone of the house shifts. I'm leaving at 8 to protect tomorrow. I love you and I'll call on Wednesday. Money clarity expands when you price peace alongside price tags. The cheaper option isn't always the best. The most expensive option isn't always the truest. You choose the option that lets you sleep and move without regret. You buy fewer things and enjoy them more. I choose the version that keeps my schedule and my stomach calm. You tame digital life by choosing a season policy, one screen during focus, batches for messages, a cutoff for the night. You log out of high temptation sites after each use and move them 2 swipes away. You leave your notes app 1 thumb from home. Your phone learns to help, not hijack. Here is a micro practice called the 2-minute unsubscribe. Open your inbox, search unsubscribe, and remove one source of noise. Then add one sender to VIP so the signal comes through. You are training your tools to respect your mind. You build reputation like savings, small, steady, intentional. You deliver when you say you will. You protect your deep blocks and tell people when you'll be reachable. You talk about constraints early and offer options. You write the decision in the doc where it belongs. Over time, you need fewer words because trust is doing the talking. I've documented the decision and next steps. Add edits thereby too, and I'll incorporate in the final pass. Your future self is part of the team. You leave breadcrumbs in files, name things clearly, add links up top, and state what done means. You end the day with a one-line closure where you will start next and when. Tomorrow, you arrives to a warm handoff, not a cold puzzle. Here is a micro practice to cement handoffs. Before you shut down, write next, plus 1 verb and 1 noun in the top line of the file. Close the laptop. Continuity is the kindest gift you can give yourself. Edge cases will keep coming. A launch shifts. A friend needs more. A family plan collides with your budget. You respond with the same trio: season, capacity, smallest useful version. You offer a choice that honors your lane. You say no without rancor and yes without regret. Your systems bend but do not break. I can meet for 30 minutes today or 90 on Friday. Choose what serves you best. I'm over my budget this week. I can do coffee at my place and a long walk after. I can't add that expense. I can help you compare options and make calls on Sunday. Identity is your final system. You are the kind of person who keeps small promises, protects deep time, spends in alignment, and treats endings and beginnings with care. You repeat what works until it becomes who you are. When you wobble, you restart without a story. You act your way back into the feeling. Here is a micro practice for identity. Each night, write 3 small proofs that match your identity: a boundary you held, a dollar you moved with intention, a focus block you protected. Read them once. Evidence turns hope into trust. You end this journey by distilling your playbook into 1 page. Top line, your season's 2 priorities. Next, your sacred block, your collaboration windows, your recovery ritual. Then 3 scripts you'll actually use for work, friends, and family. Finally, your money glance. 1 page you can read in 60 seconds. 1 page that keeps you honest when life gets loud. Your days will not become perfect. They will become clearer. You will move slower where speed steals quality and faster where confusion once lived. You will buy less but enjoy more. You will speak shorter and be heard better. You will say no more often and be loved more truly. Simple is not smaller, simple is stronger. You have built a life you can stand inside with both feet. If you forget, you know how to remember. Touch your compass words. Protect 1 block. Send 1 honest line. Move $5 to calm. Reset 1 surface. Drink water and breathe out longer than you breathe in. Then begin the next right thing. This is how you keep going without burning out, how you spend without losing yourself, how you love without erasing your edges. You have done more than listen, you have practiced. You have written new sentences in your mouth and new rhythms in your days. Keep them light. Keep them human. When the season shifts, adjust the rules, not the values. When pressure rises, return to sequence, not speed. When doubt whispers, look at your proof list and continue. You finish here with a steady spine and a softer jaw. You know what you protect and why. You trust that the quiet power of small, repeated choices will carry you farther than any burst of will. You can hear your own thoughts again. You can feel your money supporting your life instead of obscuring it. You can tell the day what matters and then live it. Thank you for walking this path. You are ready to keep it simple, to keep it kind, to keep it consistent enough to last. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks, and this is where your simpler life keeps unfolding in your own clear voice. Yesterday, you closed loops by weaving focus, boundaries, and money into one living system. You practiced edge case responses, almost zero progress, and tiny household tides that made calm repeatable. Today, you seal the habit of simple. You choose the few practices that carry the most weight, and you promise to repeat them when you are busy, bored, or brave. You set a gentle cadence for review, repair, and renewal so the season can change while the spine stays steady. You grow sturdier, not harsher. You move with a quiet authority that comes from alignment. You begin with a charter. A charter is a 1-page pact between your present self and your future self. It names your 2 priorities for the next quarter, the single sacred focus block you will defend, the collaboration windows you keep, the recovery you honor, and the money move that builds your cushion. You write it once, read it weekly, and revise only when the season actually changes. The charter is not a wish list. It is a promise you can keep on average days. Here is a micro practice for the charter. Open a blank note and write 5 lines. Season priorities, sacred block, decision windows, recovery ritual, money move. Keep each line under 10 words. Pin the note. Read it every Monday before you open messages. Your attention becomes a craft. You respect ramp up and ramp down like a skilled pilot. Before deep work, you clear the runway. 1 sentence promise, 2-minute prep, 1 visible timer. After, you log the next breadcrumb and power down the noise. You stop treating focus like a mood and start treating it like a procedure. I'm entering deep work till 11. I'll respond at noon. At work, you close ambiguity with an opening line that names outcome, owner, and time. You guide collaboration with small, visible agreements that travel better than enthusiasm. You decline the drama of constant urgency and offer crisp versions that respect the goal and your capacity. You become easy to trust because you are precise without becoming cold. To deliver Friday's outcome, I'll own the draft, you'll own approvals, and we'll checkpoint Wednesday at 3. Friendship thrives when your limits and your affection travel together. You invite connection that fits your budget and bandwidth, and you say so early. You offer 2 options, so saying yes is simple and saying no is safe. You show care with rhythm, not random bursts that empty your tank. I'm at capacity on weeknights. Coffee and a walk Saturday 9 to 10:30 would be perfect for me. Family steadiness grows when you move heat to structure. You pick a calm window for decisions, keep it short, and leave with 1 next step. When a hot moment arrives, you repeat your line and point back to the structure. You are not avoiding, you are protecting connection from being eaten by adrenaline. I'm not deciding this right now. Add it to Sunday's plan and we'll choose a next step then. Money clarity now speaks in your voice. You label each dollar with a feeling you value: shelter as stability, groceries as fuel, cushion as calm, giving as connection, fun as joy. You check your numbers weekly in under 60 seconds and you move one small amount toward calm. You make tiny upgrades to systems before you make big upgrades to lifestyle. You sleep better because your money and your calendar tell the same story. Here is a micro practice for money momentum. After any unexpected saving or refund, move $5 immediately to your cushion and write calm in the memo. You are training an automatic response toward stability. You strengthen your boundary muscle with rehearsal. Most pressure moments are repeats. You practice 3 lines in a low, steady voice so they live in your mouth before you need them. You keep the sentence short, your face warm, and your repetition calm. You are not persuading, you are informing. I'm at capacity this week and can't add more. Your environment becomes a supportive script. You stage cues where your hands travel: water bottle on the desk, walking shoes by the door, charger far from bed, a tiny card with your season priorities on the keyboard. You remove frictions where you want momentum and add frictions where you want pause. You design for the you who shows up on average days, not only the peak version. Here is a micro practice that stitches space to behavior. The 2-door rule. Before you start a block, put one item you need directly in front of you and place one distraction one step farther than comfortable reach. Repeat at the end of the block in reverse to close. You keep your influence kind by being easier to answer. You write the point first, context second, and end with one time-bound ask. You replace thoughts with a choice. You invite clean decisions and model the culture you want to live in. Please confirm A or B by 4 so I can finalize with no guesswork. When a week buckles, you do not reset your entire life. You run a simple recovery loop: hydrate, move for 1 minute, name the next single send, and do the almost zero version of your one thing. You then protect sleep like a deliverable. Recovery is not indulgence, it is how tomorrow happens. I'm pausing extras this week to protect delivery and rest. You simplify your yes. A good yes includes scope, support, and stop. You define what you will deliver, what you need to do it well, and when you will reassess. You protect quality and future you. You also become clearer to others, which reduces back and forth and widens trust. Happy to lead the kickoff deck. I'll need data access today. Let's review impact next Thursday and decide on phase 2. Here is a micro practice to tune your week. On Friday, take 60 seconds and rate 3 levers: high, medium, or low. Focus block protected, boundary lines spoken, money aligned with values. Circle the lowest and choose one notch adjustment for next week. Small corrections compound. Your friendships get richer as you share your season openly. You send short notes that mix real life and real affection. You do not wait for hours to appear, you use the minutes you have and you make them count. You let people meet you where you are and you meet them where they are. Intimacy likes clarity. I'm in a focused season and keeping nights quiet. A Sunday walk would mean a lot to me. Family love matures when you stop rescuing at the cost of your stability. You offer help inside your capacity and you hold the line when guilt knocks. You separate emergency from preference, and you are generous inside your definitions. Over time, the house learns that your yes is solid and your no is trustworthy. I can help for 1 hour today. Anything more needs planning for next week. Your money system gets sturdier with a single sentence rule you can keep. Plan weekly, automate essentials, review in 60 seconds, move one small amount to calm. You add one value-based splurge inside your cap so joy is planned, not impulsive. Joy on purpose costs less and feels richer. I budget for small joys so I don't buy big regrets. Here is a micro practice for your inner tone. When you catch a self-judging line, rewrite it as a factual instruction and act within 1 minute. Swap "I'm behind" for "open the file and write the first sentence." Instruction creates motion, motion creates relief. At work, you also protect your future self with better artifacts. You name files with plain words, put links at the top, and start each doc with a one-line definition of done. You add the decider's name and the date. You are saving hours you have not lost yet. Documented the decision and owner at the top of the doc. Edits by noon will make today's cut. You build an exit practice that leaves doors open. When a commitment no longer fits, you step back cleanly with gratitude and clarity. You offer what you can without making your life lopsided. The tone is warm, the line is firm, and the relationship stays intact. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm stepping back after this month to focus on fewer commitments. I'll document my handoff by Friday. Your home holds focus when each shared space has a simple purpose and a tiny maintenance rule. The entry catches incoming noise. The kitchen counter stays clear enough to cook. The desk hosts only the current tool and water. You replace scolding with rituals that last and a playlist that signals reset. Here is a micro practice for household calm. Set a 10-minute timer after dinner, play one song, and clear two surfaces together. When the song ends, stop. Rituals travel farther than lectures. You now carry a handful of lines that fit your mouth and your life. One for work scope, one for friend plans, one for family logistics, one for money edges, one for focus windows. You are never empty-handed in a pressure moment. Language is your lightest tool, you keep it sharpened and kind. I'm at capacity this week. If timing shifts, I can revisit on Tuesday. I'm keeping this month modest. Park picnic or movie at mine works great. We'll decide during Sunday's 10-minute plan. Please add it to the list. I'm protecting my buffer. If this dips into it, I'll wait a pay cycle. I'm in a deep block till 11 and will reply at noon. Here is a micro practice to seal identity. Each night, write 3 proofs you lived your values: a boundary you held, a focused block you kept, a dollar you moved with intention. Read them once. Evidence builds the trust that fuels tomorrow's simple moves. You finish by choosing continuity over intensity. You pick the 3 practices you will keep when life tilts: the one-line morning plan, the protected focus block, the 60-second money glance. You accept that growth looks like repeating what works and adjusting one notch at a time. You are not behind. You are on your path, and your path is human-sized. You close with a personal vow you can say out loud. You promise to protect your attention without apology, to spend in alignment with the life you want, and to hold boundaries that let love breathe. You promise to restart gently and often. You promise to play a long game with small, good moves. I choose a simple, honest pace that I can keep. If you ever forget, your restart kit waits for you. Touch your charter, run the almost zero. Send one honest line, move $5 to calm, reset one surface. Drink water and breathe out longer than you breathe in. Then begin the next right thing. Paths appear for people who walk. You are capable of a calm, focused life that respects your time, your values, and your money. You have the tools, the scripts, and the rhythm. You do not need a new self to begin, you need the same self choosing again. This is how you simplify without shrinking, how you become clear without becoming hard, how you stay generous without going broke. Thank you for staying with your own voice this far. Your days will not be perfect, they will be yours. And that is the point. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks, and this is where your simpler life keeps unfolding in your own steady hands. Yesterday, you sealed the habit of simple with a personal charter, a protected deep block, clean collaboration windows, and a money move that grows your cushion. You practiced steady scripts, short reviews, and tiny tides that kept home and work easy to re-enter. Today you finish by anchoring your simple life in identity, rituals, and renewal. You write a closing pact with yourself that you can repeat in changing seasons. You do not aim for louder or faster. You aim for clearer and kinder, with edges that let love and focus breathe. Your identity leads your calendar now. You are a person who protects deep time, spends in alignment, and communicates in short, steady lines. You show this with what you repeat. Your yes is firm and your no is warm. Your money choices match your values, and your values fit in the day you actually live. You do not chase a new self, you keep choosing the self you trust. Here is a micro practice for identity proof. At the top of today's plan, write "I am the person who," followed by one action you will complete before noon. Keep it humble and specific. Deliver it, then circle the line to record the proof. You turn endings into beginnings. Before you close a block, you leave a breadcrumb and you speak one line that names the next start. You end on time so the next promise begins on time. You respect future you by making reentry easy. When reentry is easy, discipline feels lighter. Next, start outline section 2 at 10 tomorrow. At work, you finish with clarity that travels. Your last messages state the decision, the owner, the time, and the smallest next step. You minimize swirl by moving choices into the document that will live beyond the chat. You create a trail your team can follow without you. Work becomes calmer because information stays where it belongs. To close this, option A is approved by Dana. I'll ship the draft by Thursday noon. Please add any blockers in the doc by 4. Friendships continue to fit inside your life because you keep them honest and planned. You do not postpone care until the perfect time that never arrives. You share your season early and offer a plan that protects both your budget and your energy. You practice affection in small, reliable ways. I'm keeping my nights quiet. A voice note Sunday afternoon and a walk next weekend would be perfect. Family peace holds because you use structure, not speeches. You move decisions to the agreed window, keep them short, and leave with one action. You repeat yourself calmly when needed and close the loop with a practical step. Love does not require chaos. We'll decide this in our Sunday 10-minute plan. For now, let's enjoy dinner. Your money stays clear because you keep using the simplest levers that work. You check the cushion, you move a tiny amount toward calm, and you spend where joy or relief is real. You give your dollars names that feel like values, not numbers. You avoid big swings that fade and choose small moves that stick. I'm funding calm first, then choosing one joy I'll remember. Here is a micro practice to make numbers feel human. Label this week's top 5 purchases with the feeling they delivered. If a purchase lacks a feeling you want to repeat, pause it for 7 days and redirect that amount to your cushion. Small reassignments compound into dignity. You finalize your rhythms for high, medium, and low days. On high days, you advance the important by 2 steps and resist adding noise. On medium days, you complete the important by 1 step and honor the schedule. On low days, you run the almost zero plan and protect sleep. Your worth does not swing with your energy. Your plan flexes and keeps you steady. Here is a micro practice to choose the right rhythm. At breakfast, rate your energy as high, medium, or low with one word. Adjust your plan by shrinking or stretching only the top 2 blocks. Keep the rest intact. The final shape of your simple communication is crisp, human, and repeatable. Point first, context second, ask last. You use one verb and one noun when stress rises. You stop negotiating in your head and start instructing your hands. You adopt language that future you will be proud to read. Send the summary. You close scope creep with kindness and a calendar. You stop absorbing unplanned urgency by offering a version you can deliver well and a time you can keep. You trust that quality plus reliability builds more trust than heroic flailing. You keep your standards because they serve the work and your health. I can share a concise outline by 3 today and a full draft Thursday noon. which keeps us moving. In friendships, you model generous boundaries. You name your limit and your desire in the same breath. You offer options that fit your bandwidth. You keep the door open without leaving it off the hinges. I can't do late nights this month. I'm in for a long lunch on Sunday. In family life, you convert repeating friction into shared agreements. You write rules that are visible and boring to enforce. You let the system do the talking so you do not have to. You keep your tone low and your steps predictable. Stability grows from repetition more than from speeches. Laundry loads run Tuesday and Friday. Anything missed rolls to the next day. Here is a micro practice for home ease. The minute at the threshold. When you enter, place keys, bag, and mail in their homes, then take one slow breath with your hand on the wall. Your body learns that home is a reset, not another arena. Your final boundary scripts are short, reusable, and yours. They live in your mouth and your notes. They are kind because you are kind. They are firm because your time and money matter. I'm offline for deep work till 11. I'll reply at noon. I'm keeping costs modest. Picnic or coffee at mine works best. I hear you. I'm not discussing this further. Let's switch to a lighter topic. Your calendar now mirrors what you value. You block the important before the urgent. You respect buffers and recovery like you respect meetings. You schedule one human connection every week that fits your budget and your energy. You say yes to what serves your season and you let the rest wait its turn. Here is a micro practice for next week's map. Schedule one 25-minute deep block, one decision window, one recovery ritual, and one low-cost joy. Put them in the calendar now. Protect them with the same seriousness as a work meeting. You exit loops with a written canon of decisions. You write the why while the context is fresh. You stop redeciding settled questions. You check your notes before reopening a debate. You make today easier by respecting yesterday's clarity. At work, you coach clarity by asking for the smallest test instead of the longest argument. You write the outcome on one line and set a time to check the result. You move from opinion to learning in a day. Teams like progress. You create it by asking better, smaller questions. To learn fastest, let's test A with 10 samples by Friday and decide based on that. In friendships, you celebrate often and simply. You send a quick note when they win. You pause to listen when they need to breathe. You budget for connection so joy does not require debt. You build a gentle reputation for showing up as promised. I'm proud of you. Tell me one moment you want to keep. In family, you retire rescue as your identity. You help inside your capacity and you keep your promises to yourself visible. You allow natural consequences to teach. You do not argue with guilt. You say your line once kindly and you step back. I can help for 1 hour today. After that, I need to return to my plan. Your money practice ends simple and strong. Automate essentials on payday, glance at balances weekly, move a small amount to calm, and plan joy on purpose. You keep receipts for your future self in the form of notes, not guilt. You let progress look like quiet lines that add up. Here is a micro practice to end each week. The Money Minute. Read the cushion number out loud, move $5 toward it, and write one line about a choice you felt proud of. Close the app. Pride trains behavior. You cleanly conclude each day with a closure you can keep. 5 lines, 1 breath, soft light, or a short walk. You leave a breadcrumb and you leave the desk. Your body learns that rest is part of work. Your mornings get easier because your nights are not messy handoffs. Today is complete. Tomorrow begins with the first sentence. You carry a restart kit for the weeks that buckle. Hydrate, move for 1 minute, send one honest reply, and do the almost zero on your one thing. Protect sleep and budget for calm. Your restart kit is how identity survives noise. You will forget sometimes, you will also remember faster now. Resilience lives in your promises. You promise to protect deep time, to hold warm boundaries, and to spend in alignment with what you truly value. You promise to choose small, repeatable moves over dramatic sprints. You promise to speak to yourself like someone you respect. These promises are not loud, they are steady. Steady is how simple lasts. Here is a micro practice to seal the promises. Write 3 lines starting with I will protect, I will choose, I will restart. Place the note where your hand lands each morning. Read it once. Begin. Your reputation becomes your quiet helper. People learn that you deliver when you say you will. They learn your windows and your edges. They learn your kindness and your firmness. Requests arrive clearer. Meetings shrink. Decisions get made in the right places. Your life feels lighter because your systems teach the world how to work with you. The last turn in this journey is gratitude. Gratitude for your attention, for your edges, for your money choices that now speak truth. Gratitude for the body that shows up and the voice that now knows how to say yes and no. Gratitude for the proof you built, one small line at a time. Gratitude is a stabilizer. It keeps your wins from slipping away unnoticed and your effort from feeling invisible. As you close, you write your one-page playbook. 2 season priorities, your sacred block, your decision windows, your recovery ritual, 3 scripts for work, friends, and family. Your money glance steps, 1 place you will keep proof, you print it or pin it, you read it weekly, you update it when the season truly changes. This is your map. It is short because your life is clearer now. You end where you began, choosing simple. Simple is alignment, not austerity. Simple is clarity, not control. Simple is love with edges. You walk the next days with a steady spine and a softer jaw. You hold attention like a candle and money like a tool. You say fewer things and mean every one. You are not trying to have it all. You are choosing to have what you value and to be awake for it. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks, and you carry this simpler way forward in your own clear voice, one honest choice at a time. Yesterday, you anchored identity, rituals, and renewal. You practiced crisp endings, warm boundaries, and a weekly money glance so calm kept showing up even when the week shifted. Today, you integrate your simplest truths into a closing practice you can carry year after year. You seal what works, release what does not, and choose a handful of moves you can repeat when you are energized, when you are tired, and when life asks for courage. You end not with intensity, but with continuity. Your life is now guided by season and signal. You stop asking whether you are doing enough and start asking whether you are doing the right next thing. You let signals lead. The season card in your pocket, the protected block on your calendar, the cushion number you say out loud once a week. You trust that tiny moves repeated become structure. Structure becomes identity. Identity holds when motivation fades. Here is a micro practice to begin the final turn. Write 3 lines. Season priority 1, season priority 2, sacred block time. Read them once and set a gentle alert 5 minutes before the block. When the alert rings, you lower your shoulders, breathe out longer than you breathe in, and begin. Focus remains the backbone. You keep one place where your hardest thinking lives most days. You treat that block like a contract with yourself and with the people who depend on your work. You protect the start and the end, so re-entry is easy and drift is rare. You put your phone out of reach and your water within reach. You make the good path the easy path. I'm offline for deep work 9 to 11. I'll respond at noon. Work grows lighter when you make clarity your default setting. You open with the point and end with the ask. You choose tiered options instead of brittle yes or no. You show respect with precision. You are not cold, you are clear. People experience you as calm because your words make action simple. To land Friday, I can ship a lean version by 3 today or a polished version by Thursday noon, which supports the outcome best. Friendships stay close because you plan connection in shapes you can keep. You name your budget out loud early. You pair your limit with affection. You make room for depth without draining your week. You let rhythm carry care. I'm keeping costs light. A park picnic or a home movie night would be perfect. Family steadiness grows because you choose structure over persuasion. You move decisions to the calm window, you keep them short. You leave with one action at a time. When emotion spikes, you repeat your line and hold the plan. Love can breathe when the house knows what happens when. We'll decide this on Sunday's 10-minute plan. For now, let's enjoy the evening. Money clarity becomes easy because you keep the mechanics light. You automate essentials, you practice a 60-second glance, and you label dollars with feelings you value. You make one tiny improvement per week and stop. You let progress be the rhythm, not the exception. You feel the dignity of moving $5 toward calm because it proves you are leading your money, not chasing it. Here is a micro practice that keeps money human. Before any non-essential over $30, say one sentence. I am buying this for the feeling of X. If the word is relief or joy, you will remember, proceed. If the word is distraction, wait 72 hours. You hold 3 boundary scripts in your pocket so pressure moments do not steal your peace. For work, a lane and a time. For friends, a limit and a loving option. For family, a kind refusal and a redirect. You say each in a low, steady voice. You repeat once if needed. You move on without a speech. At work, to keep us on track, I'll own the draft through Wednesday. Reviews move to your team Thursday. With friends, I'm at capacity this week. Coffee and a walk Saturday 9 to 10:30 works for me. With family, I'm not discussing this further. Let's switch to a lighter topic for tonight. Your inner stance remains practical and gentle. You no longer argue with yourself, you instruct yourself. You swap vague pressure for near-term commands. You make the first move easy and the next move obvious. You give your brain a home field advantage. Open the file and write the first sentence. Recovery is part of delivery. You do not outrun the bill. You schedule a daily reset that's small enough to keep. A short stretch, soft light, a slow glass of water, a 1-minute step outside. You protect sleep like you protect deadlines because both are work. The point of simplicity is not to fit more in, it is to let the important breathe. Here is a micro practice for closing the day. Write 5 lines: finished, advanced, learned, grateful for, first step tomorrow. Read them out loud. Close the laptop. Your nervous system hears the day is complete. You stop managing life only with ideas and start managing life with artifacts. You write the definition of done at the top of each doc. You name the owner and the decider. You put links where eyes will land. You end messages with a single question and a time. You move decisions into places that persist. Your future self thanks you. Your team thanks you. Friction drops. Please confirm A or B by 2 p.m. so I can finalize without guessing. You give your attention fewer doors to walk through, one screen during focus, batches for messages, a nighttime cutoff that respects your morning. You remove what pulls you sideways and keep what points you forward. You live like someone who trusts her choices. You prepare for edge cases because life will test you. When urgency from above collides with your deep block, you offer a smallest useful now plus a real timeline. When a friend invites a pricey plan, you propose a version that fits your season. When family asks for money that touches your cushion, you protect the cushion and offer help that does not break you. I can deliver a 1-page outline by noon or the full draft tomorrow, which serves the goal. I'm over budget this week. I can host a potluck or take a long walk. I can't send cash. I can help you review options on Sunday afternoon. You also plan for low days. Low days are not failures, they are part of being human. You switch to almost zero progress that keeps the chain alive. 1 paragraph, 1 reply, 1 glance at the cushion. You protect sleep and you do not scrap the system. Your identity is the person who returns. Here is a micro practice for low energy hours. The 5-2 ladder. Work 5 minutes on the smallest true step, then step away for 2 minutes to breathe and stretch. Repeat twice. Motion returns. Resistance lowers its voice. Generosity remains inside your lane. You give in ways you can repeat, a small tip, a note, a shared snack, an offer of time that fits. You do not overextend to prove your heart. Your heart speaks through consistency. Warm boundaries let love last. Your home keeps helping because it knows what to do. The entry catches, the counter clears, the desk resets. You run 10-minute tides with a favorite song and stop when the song ends. Your house no longer asks you to think every time you move through it. It supports you without attention tax. You keep a one-page playbook visible. Top line, season priorities. Next, sacred block time, collaboration windows, recovery ritual, 3 scripts you actually use, the money glance steps, the place for proof. You read the page before you open messages on Monday. You adjust it when the season actually changes, not when a mood swings. You widen your sense of wealth from dollars to days. Wealth is a morning without hurry, an evening that ends on time, a friendship that fits your budget, a decision that lives where it belongs, a home that returns to neutral in 10 minutes. You build this wealth by spending attention and money where return is real, on calm, on connection, on capability. Here is a micro practice to invest in calm. Replace one 10-minute scroll with a walk to the nearest window and 3 slow breaths while you name one thing you can see, hear, and feel. When you return, move $5 to savings labeled calm. You are training both attention and money to come home. You close loops with grace. You exit meetings that have no agenda. You route feedback to the doc. You decline politely and offer a version you can deliver well. You leave rooms on time. You end threads with decisions. Your influence grows because your presence simplifies the day. This seems best in the doc. Add comments by noon and I'll incorporate at 3. You make room for beauty that fits. A flower on the table, a playlist for tides, a cup that makes water inviting, a candle you use on Friday evenings. Beauty belongs in a simple life because it makes simple feel rich. Your reputation now does quiet work on your behalf. People know your yes is real, your no is kind, your drafts arrive when promised, your decisions live where they should, your budget is honest, your time has edges. Requests arrive clearer. Fewer emergencies cross your desk. Trust compounds. Compounding is how effort becomes ease. Here is a micro practice to keep compounding alive. Deliver one thing a day slightly earlier than expected with a one-line summary of value. Early and clear becomes part of your name. If conflict arises, you don't rehearse old wars. You ask for the smallest test, the single decider, and the next check-in. You speak low, choose specifics, and move. Complexity loses power when you shrink problems to decisions and time. To move forward, we need Jordan's yes on A or B by 4. I'll run a one-day test on the choice and share results tomorrow. Your final money step is simple. Protect essentials, practice the glance, move a tiny amount toward calm, plan one joy. You keep receipts for yourself in the form of notes, not shame. You act your way into confidence. Confidence is not a speech. It is the quiet memory of kept promises. You end this journey with a vow that fits in your mouth and your day. You promise to protect deep time, to choose aligned spending, to hold boundaries that let love breathe, and to restart gently and often. You promise to value the power of near-term action over distant perfection. You promise to keep your life human-sized. I choose a simple, honest pace I can keep. If you forget, you will remember faster now. Touch your season card. Start the sacred block. Send one honest sentence. Move $5 to calm, reset one's surface. Drink water and breathe out longer than you breathe in. Then do the next right thing. The next right thing is how lives actually change. You do not need a louder life, you need a truer one. You have learned how to protect attention, to speak short and kind, to spend with values, to close the day, to hold the line, to reset without drama. You have built a system that bends, not breaks. You will carry it in your pocket and in your tone. You finish with gratitude for your own effort. You showed up for small moves when fireworks would have been easier to fantasize about. You kept promises that no one else could see. You wrote scripts that protect you and the people you love. You now have proof that your days can be yours. This is your closing paragraph, and it is simple. You have a page to guide you, a rhythm to carry you, and a voice that speaks with warmth and edges. Read your playbook on Mondays. Protect one deep block a day. Run the money glance once a week. Keep your boundary lines steady and kind. When life tilts, return to sequence, not speed. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks.